because I've seen the fake son Drama too many times. So the first thing after returning to the wealthy family, I spoke to the 4 sisters who protect the fake son. If you don't want me as your real brother, I don't want you as sisters either. Since you only see Mu Xian as your real brother, then you only have him as a brother. Keep him if you want, it's up to you. Just don't bother me from now on. Those words made the 4 Mu sisters' faces change drastically. Mu father and Pei Shuero were both angry and anxious. I sighed, seeing Pei Shuero's sad expression. Don't overthink it, you and dad. Since I chose to come back, it means I truly accept you. But that's all it is, just acceptance. I'm not interested in kissing up to anyone. I'm the noble young master of the wrongful death city. It's always others who come to please me. When have I ever had to swallow my pride or lower myself to please others? Since I've taken over Mu Chen's body, it's lie I've made a bond with him. Mu father and Pei Shuero treat me sincerely, so I'll naturally honor them well. I'll see them as my own parents. As for the rest, I'll play it by ear. In the silence, a sob suddenly broke out. Everyone at the table couldn't help but look over. They saw Mu Xian crying with red eyes. Mom, Dad, sisters, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Little brother, please don't blame the sisters. Before he could finish his words, I cut him off without any courtesy. Enough. Stop crying here. Do you think you're putting on a show? If you want to perform, I don't have time for it. What do you want? I'll just leave. Give you back your het pie family. With that, I made a move to get up and leave. Mu Xian was so embarrassed by my words his face turned red. He couldn't say a word. Xiaoqin, what nonsense are you talking about? This is your real home. How can you talk about leaving? Pei Shuero said hurriedly. She reached out and tightly grabbed my wrist, afraid I'd actually leave if I got upset. This will always be your home. Do whatever makes you het pie. No one in this house has the right to criticize you. After saying that, he glared at his daughters. Daughters really are just trouble. Mu father also glared at his daughters. That's right. You're the master of this house. Anyone who doesn't lie you can get out. From now on, do whatever feels comfortable. I'd lie to see who dares to complain about you. I was very satisfied with the couple's attitude. At least they knew what was right. If they were confused too, and forced their real son to favor the adopted one, then my attitude toward them would be indifferent. Mu Xian felt both awkward, wronged, and sad. He wished he could disappear from there, but he didn't have the courage. He was no longer the young master of the Mu family. Now he was just an adopted son living under someone else's roof. Thinking about that made him feel even worse. Pei Shuero looked at Mu Xian and gently comforted him. Xiao Shen, don't cry here. Didn't we talk about this before? Xiao Chen is Xiao Chen, and you are you. There's no conflict between you two. Just stay home and relax. Mu Xian kept sobbing. I just feel so sorry for my brother. I paused, having just taken a bite of food. Are you ever going to stop? You say you feel sorry, but I don't see you voluntarily leaving the Mu family. Since you've chosen to stay, stop putting on that pitiful face. It's really disgusting to look at. And I'm not your real brother. From now on, just call me by my name. Of course I could see what Mu Xian was up to. He just wanted to act pitiful and wronged, so everyone would feel sorry for him and protect him. That kind of low-level trick doesn't impress me. If he wants to act, let him. But if he doesn't know his place, then don't blame me for not respecting our parents. Mu Xian's expression froze instantly. It felt like he'd been slapped in public. His face alternated between pale and red. He was absolutely furious inside, but he couldn't lash out in front of everyone after being so bluntly called out by me. If he kept playing the victim, it would be too obvious. Mu Yue was the youngest of the 4 sisters. She was also the most hot-tempered and impulsive. Seeing this, she immediately wanted to defend Mu Xian, but Mu Wanting firmly held her back. Mu Wanting looked at me sitting across from her. Her eyes were full of curiosity and scrutiny. This brother really seems a bit special. Mu Wanting's eyes flickered slightly. Welcome back to the family. Mom and Dad were absolutely right. From now on, this is your home. Do whatever feels comfortable for you. Don't worry about anyone else's feelings. We were careless about today. We thought you and Dad wouldn't be back so soon, so we went out to handle some things. Please don't overthink it. We're all really het pie your home. I glanced at her indifferently and didn't respond. Seeing the eldest daughter take the initiative to speak up, Mu father's expression finally relaxed a bit. He turned and told the servants to keep serving the food. Today, they had the kitchen prepare a big feast. They'd made all kinds of dishes because they didn't know what I liked to eat. Right. Xiao Chen, where did you lie before? Where are his former family members? How are we going to handle those relationships? Mu Wanting suddenly remembered something. She asked casually, pretending not to care. After she asked, she noticed Mu father's expression changed slightly. Mu Wanting's heart stirred. Dad, why did you suddenly go quiet? Is there something you can't talk about? We're all family now. Our brothers' matters are our matters. There's no need to keep secrets from us. It seemed like this meal wasn't going to go smoothly. If you want to know, just ask me directly. I picked up a napkin and lightly wiped my mouth. I was adopted by an old Taoist priest when I was little. I lived in a rundown Taoist temple. That temple was built on a remote, barren mountain. The conditions were terrible. There was hardly any incense offering. My master and I barely had enough to eat, so I never went to formal school. My master taught me to read and write at the temple. I rarely came down the mountain growing up. My master passed away 3 months ago from old age. After he died, I lived alone in the temple, until Dad finally found me a while back. Then he brought me here. I paused for a moment and then added, that temple is completely closed now, since I'm not there anymore. Of course, if I ever want to go back, I can still go back and lie there alone. I summed up my past in a few words. My tone was calm and indifferent. There was no complaint in my words, no hint of self-pity, and no blame toward fate. But Pei Shuero and Mu father listened with aching hearts. The couple couldn't help but tear up. Mu Wanting and her sisters were stunned. Their emotions were complicated. They never imagined their real brother, while they didn't know, should have been the honored young master of the Mu family, should have been cherished by the whole family. Mu Yue couldn't help but feel guilty. She thought her attitude earlier had been too harsh. Mu Xian cursed inwardly. Damn, he's definitely scheming. What he just said was clearly intentional. He's deliberately acting pitiful to gain sympathy. He reflexively wanted to apologize again, but then he remembered my attitude earlier. He swallowed the words back. He changed his approach, thinking he was clever. Xiao Chen, now that you're home, your life will only get better from here. You're probably not used to being back yet. If there's anything you don't know, feel free to come to me anytime. I'll do my best to help you. If you're willing, I can take you around to explore, help you get familiar with the area. Oh, okay, thank you. Pei Shuero held my hand tightly and said these words. Her eyes were full of deep concern and guilt. Mom, I'm fine. My master and I were doing well. Even though life was tough, The temple was quiet and comfortable. My master was very kind to me. I was actually very happy growing up. What I said wasn't a lie. The real Mu Chen was indeed happy. Over the years, even though life at the temple wasn't great, his master always loved him deeply. He gave him the best he could. And there were hardly any people at the temple. The relationships around him were simple and pure. He lived freely every day. When he was lonely, he'd play with animals in the back mountain. He could have fun alone in the mountains. His days were carefree and without worries. Mu Chen once said he never felt it was hard. For him, the real pain was when his master was dying. When he was terminally ill and beyond help. His master was his only family in the world. His last emotional and spiritual anchor. It was the first time he tasted the pain of parting. After his master passed away, he stayed alone in the temple, with no one to talk to. Every day was lonely and desolate. In the half-month before Mu father found him, Mu Chen went to gather firewood in the back mountain. He accidentally fell off a cliff. He was alone on that remote mountain. No one knew about the fall. So he died quietly, unnoticed. His soul went straight to the wrongful death city. I happened to be back in the city handling daily affairs. When I saw Mu Chen's soul, I noticed his unique destiny. Based on his birth chart and appearance, he was meant to be wealthy and smooth sailing. A rare destiny of both fortune and longevity. Such a destiny usually comes from accumulated good deeds. But he ended up in the wrongful death city, which meant he died an untimely death. His rightful destiny had been altered. Coincidentally, there was a big problem in the city. I needed to come to the mortal world myself, so I made a fair deal with him. I used Mu Chen's identity to handle my affairs. We each get what we need. That's how I ended up in the Mu family today. But what I just said, they wouldn't believe it, especially Mu father and Pei Shuero. They felt even more that their son was kind and good. They thought I said it to comfort them. They were heartbroken. Their poor son, born to enjoy life, a young master's fate, but ended up outside, suffering for over a decade. They vowed to make it up to him. The atmosphere at the table turned heavy because of my words. Everyone was lost in their own thoughts. The four Mu sisters didn't cause any more trouble. They all kept their heads down, eating quietly. Mu father and Pei Shuero focused entirely on me, gently asking from time to time, "Is the food to your liking? Xiao Chen, which dish do you like? Do you want mom to get you some soup?" They took care of me in every way. Mu Xian, sitting nearby, couldn't hide his disappointment. Mu Yue wanted to say something several times, but when her eyes landed on me, her real brother, she remembered what I'd said earlier. She swallowed her words again. I just focused on enjoying the delicious food. To the Mu family, this looked like something else. Pei Shuero looked at me with teary eyes. Her heart ached beyond words. It was obvious her son, living on the mountain, rarely got to eat such rich food. Living in a remote, rundown temple on a barren mountain. The harsh conditions were easy to imagine. Just filling his stomach was a blessing. How could he ever taste delicacies? Pei Shuero had already made up her mind. She would cook different meals for me every day. After dinner, all the kids sat obediently in the living room. Mu father said it was to bond with me, the newly returned son. I sat comfortably in the center of the living room, on the wide leather sofa, watching the huge LCD TV with great interest. I was completely absorbed in the screen. "Xiao Chen, do you lie watching TV?" Pei Shuero asked with a gentle smile. My eyes were glued to the TV. I nodded vigorously. This TV is so interesting. The images are way more fun than stage plays. I haven't been to this bustling world in a long time. I didn't expect it to change so much. I feel like a country bumpkin just coming to the city. Pei Shuero saw me lie this. Her eyes reddened again. My poor biological son. He's already so grown up, and he's never even properly watched TV. Just then, a commercial came on. Pei Shuero immediately picked up the remote. "Xiao Chen, let mom change the channel for you. The show you were watching ended today. Let's switch to something else. There are plenty of fun shows." I nodded obediently, acting very well behaved. Pei Shuero casually pressed the remote to change the channel. The new channel was playing a family drama. She put down the remote, but after a moment, everyone's expressions turned awkward, especially Mu Xian, sitting nearby. His fair face flushed bright red. His eyes were full of barely concealed shame and frustration. What a coincidence. The show was about a fake son scenario. Two children accidentally switched at birth, and today's episode was about the real son being found. Pei Shuero was completely stunned by the TV. I had just randomly picked a channel, and the plot mirrored their situation perfectly. It was incredibly awkward. The main character was brought back by his biological parents. The adopted son stayed, and instead of being sent away, he was even more spoiled. More than the real son. The adopted son was treated like a treasure, while the real son was treated like trash. An awkward atmosphere filled the living room, and I casually commented, "Ah, people in this world, why don't they lock their own son, and instead favor an adopted one? Even if they've raised him for years, it's understandable to be reluctant, but they shouldn't wrong the real one." I shook my head in confusion. The Mu family thought I was being sarcastic, but they couldn't prove it. They hadn't sent Mu Xian away, but they definitely weren't biased, and they hadn't wronged Mu Chen. They really were reluctant to let Mu Xian go. After all, they'd raised him for over a decade. Feelings build up over time. You can't just throw them away. But they knew the difference. No matter how much they loved Mu Xian, he wouldn't surpass Mu Chen. So they thought Mu Chen was just commenting on the show, definitely not targeting them. Even if he was, it was just a comment. The sisters, Mu father, and Pei Shuero comforted themselves, hiding their guilt. They had initially thought about sending Mu Xian away. Mu Xian was almost an adult. They could buy him a house outside and send him a monthly allowance, support him through college. But their daughters strongly opposed it. They begged them not to, and they themselves were soft-hearted. Mu father glared at his daughters. Mu Xian couldn't take it anymore. He covered his face and sobbed quietly, then ran upstairs. I looked over, confused. What's wrong with him now? Mu Yue's face darkened. She held back and didn't say anything. Pei Shuero smiled awkwardly. "It's nothing. He's probably just not used to it yet." I frowned slightly. If I'm living here from now on, is she going to cry every day? That would be so annoying. Pei Shuero was at a loss for words. She felt a bit exhausted. "Did you do that on purpose?" Mu Yue finally couldn't hold back. I immediately looked away, innocently blinked. What do you mean on purpose? Mu Yue gritted her teeth at me. You deliberately provoked her just now. Mom and Dad said they'd make it up to you. What more do you want? Do you have to drive Mu Xian away to be het pie? Now I understood. I threw the remote on the table and stood up, coldly glared at Mu Yue. So you want to drive me away to make room for your good brother? I can't even speak in my own home. I have to consider the fake young master's feelings? With that, I turned and left. The living room fell silent. Mu father was furious and walked over. He scolded his youngest daughter, making Mu Yue beg for mercy. I'm warning you all. If you treat Mu Chen like this again, I'll kick you all out. His expression turned extremely stern. You all need to understand. Mu Chen is your real brother. Your blood brother. In this identity swap with Mu Xian, he's far more innocent than Mu Xian. You only worry about Mu Xian feeling wronged. Why don't you think about all these years? How much has your real brother suffered? How much hardship has he endured? The Mu family doesn't mind continuing to support him, but he must never surpass Mu Chen. Mu father's gaze fell on his youngest daughter. His face was grim. You and Mu Xian are close in age. You've always been the closest. I understand you protecting him, but you need to be clear. Mu Chen hasn't done anything wrong. He doesn't owe anyone anything. I'll only say this once. If anyone makes Mu Chen sad again, I'll skin them alive. Mu Yue's mouth twitched. She felt like he was talking about her. Dad, don't worry. We know what we're doing. Mu Wanting spoke up, explaining today's events again. We thought you wouldn't be back so soon, so we agreed to go watch his game. If we'd known you'd be back early, I definitely wouldn't have gone. Mu Rulin and Mu Yakin nodded. Those two were twin sisters. Mu father and Pei Shuero went upstairs with dark faces, leaving the four sisters in the living room, looking at each other. Big sister, don't you think our brother seems a bit? Mu Rulin paused. It took her a while to find the right word. Special. His personality is quite unique. Mu Wanting thought back to tonight's events and nodded in agreement. He's not one to take things lying down. He can really shut people up with his words, but he doesn't seem to do it on purpose. He's not trying to provoke anyone. He just says what he thinks. He doesn't know how to be subtle. He's too straightforward. She then thought about the other brother's behavior and couldn't help but frown. Mu Xian is indeed too sensitive. If he keeps this up and doesn't adjust his mindset, he'll only end up hurting himself. Lai Dad said. Even if we've lived with him for over a decade and have deep feelings for him, we can't keep doing this, wronging our real brother for his sake. So he needs to change his attitude. Mu Wanting turned to Mu Yue. You're closest to Mu Xian and closest in age. Talk to him. Tell him not to overthink. Now that Mu Chen is back, Mom and Dad will naturally favor him. That's only human. But that doesn't mean they won't love him anymore. He's still their son. Mu Yue was young and impulsive, but she wasn't stupid. She nodded seriously. I understand. And Mu Wanting's expression turned serious. She put on her big sister authority. From now on, treat Mu Chen better, or I'll deal with you. After scolding her youngest sister, Mu Wanting got up and went to her room. Mu Rulin and Mu Yakin exchanged a glance. Let's go. Mu Yue was really annoyed. What kind of mess is this? We all did it together. Why am I the only one getting blamed? I didn't care what the people downstairs thought. I went straight to my room and closed the door. This room was carefully prepared by my parents. It's decorated very exquisitely. Both the design and the items are in a style that young boys lie. Good thing it's not pink. Otherwise, staying in a room like that, I'm afraid I'd be up all night. As soon as I entered the room, I sensed a strange fluctuation in the air. I gently waved my hand, setting up a barrier around the room to avoid anyone noticing anything unusual and raising unnecessary suspicion. Then, a man in a black robe appeared out of thin air, wearing a little ghost mask. The man walked up to me and knelt on one knee. Your Highness, I looked at him, frowning. Why are you here? After asking, I had a bad feeling. Sure enough, the city lord ordered me to deliver a message. The lady has returned to the city of the dead. Wasn't she at the 6th hall? How long has it been since she went back? Why, just as I arrived in the human world, she returns to the city of the dead? Before leaving, I was secretly hoping that she'd finish her business and report back directly. But she hadn't even returned yet. I didn't expect fate to be so unkind. I had barely slipped out when she followed right back. Thinking of her past warnings, a flicker of guilt passed through my eyes. My sister had repeatedly told me back then, never come to the human world without permission to handle city affairs. We must discuss it first. But I happened to run into Mu Chen and thought the timing was perfect. Taking advantage of my sister's absence, I arranged everything myself. With my sister's strict nature, I'm probably in for a scolding this time. Your Highness, the city lord has already returned to the city of the dead and discovered your Highness came to the human world privately. She is very angry, so she ordered me to deliver this message. After speaking, he stood up and made a gesture. A faint light flickered in midair, and an envelope materialized out of nowhere. Then the envelope slowly disappeared. A line of text clearly appeared, rippling slightly in the air, before quickly dissipating. Though the time was very brief, I saw it clearly. It was just one line, actually 4 words. Arriving soon. This is really worrying. It's not good for my sister to come to the human world, is it? The masked man's voice was flat. Your Highness's decision cannot be changed, meaning I shouldn't overthink it. Just obediently prepare for her arrival. I fell into silence instantly. The man quickly disappeared from the room. I was like a deflated balloon, completely listless. My sister is coming. How exactly does she plan to come? If she comes as the city lord, that's fine. Then she definitely won't stay long. Thinking this, I regained hope. As for her settling scores later, I did it for the sake of the city of the dead, considering that she won't be too harsh. On the 3rd day, when the Mu family came downstairs, they saw me watching TV in the living room, and their steps all paused. They blinked hard, looked at the big clock in the living room. For a moment, everyone was silent. It was only a little past 6 in the morning. Hearing the noise behind me, I was engrossed in TV and got distracted. Turned my head to see who was coming down. Casually greeted them. Good morning. After greeting, I immediately turned back, looking completely focused, as if I didn't want to waste a single second. Pei Shuero was stunned for a moment, then snapped out of it, walked straight towards me, and sat down slowly beside me. First, she glanced at the TV screen. The morning news was playing. Xiao Chen, you lie watching TV so much. Why don't I have one installed in your room? That way you can watch in your room too. Pei Shuero just wanted to do everything to fulfill all her son's wishes. My eyes lit up at that. I was about to nod in agreement, but Mu Wanting, who was coming down the stairs, spoke up before me. Mom, that's not a good idea. Putting a TV in Xiao Chen's room. If she gets hooked, what if she doesn't sleep at night? She's still growing. Her words reminded our mother, looking at how obsessed her son was. If she had a TV in her room, she'd definitely watch it all night. That absolutely won't do. She quickly changed her mind. I didn't think that through. That really won't work. Can't affect Xiao Chen's rest. Better watch it in the living room. I can watch with you too. We can even discuss the plot, mother and son. The dream of watching TV all night was shattered. I gave Mu wanting a resentful look. This eldest sister must really dislike me. She won't even let me watch TV. In comparison, my sister seems much better. Pei Shuero sensed her son was unhappy. She found it amusing yet felt sorry for him. Which kid these days doesn't play on their phone? TV is nothing special to them. But her son found it so novel. Who would believe that? She coaxed him gently. Having it in the room really isn't convenient. It affects your rest at night too much. You can't just stay in your room all day. A room is for sleeping. If you lie watching, watch in the living room. No one at home likes watching TV. No one will fight you for it. I thought about it and understood the logic, so I obediently nodded. Then emphasized one point. You absolutely can't fight me for the remote. Pei Shuero couldn't help but chuckle, her eyes full of affection. Oku, all the TVs at home are yours. If anyone dares change the channel, I'll deal with them. Him, she finished with a pointed glare at the daughters coming downstairs one by one. Mu Wanting's mouth twitched slightly. She hadn't watched TV in ages. How could she possibly fight her brother for it? If anyone would, it'd be the fourth sister. Mu Wanting glanced at her fourth sister. Mu Yue immediately bristled like a cat with its tail stepped on. Big sister, why are you staring at me? Do you think I'd fight her for the channel? She wasn't that childish. Her defensive reaction made everyone in the living room, me, Pei Shuero, the other three Mu daughters, and Mu Shen, who had just come downstairs, along with Mu father, all look at her with various expressions. I slowly added a jab. Even if you wanted to fight me, you'd have to see if you have what it takes. Pei Shuero immediately yelled at her youngest daughter. From now on, you're not allowed to fight Xiao Chen for the TV, you hear? If I find out you're bullying her, I'll have your dad cut off your allowance. Not a single cent left for you. Mu Yue was instantly as deflated as a frog, covering her face, full of indignation, glaring at me several times. I couldn't even be bothered to give her a sidelong glance. It made her so mad she didn't even want breakfast. A normal kid at this age would usually be in their senior year of high school. Mu Xian would be taking the college entrance exam next June. Mu Chen should be the same. But he had lived in a Taoist temple before, and never received a formal, systematic education. Yet his age was what it was. So what grade should he start from? Could he keep up if he went straight to senior year? The school registration issue was easy enough, but deciding which grade was the real headache. Mu father frowned more and more as he thought. He brought up the topic of school with me. I saw this as a good chance to learn about the world. Mu Shen, who was nearby, had a glint in his eye, and suggested with a smile, Dad, why not let Xiao Chen join my class? That way I can take care of him, and help him with his studies. I didn't even look at him. Mu father was a bit tempted, but worried his son couldn't keep up. If he couldn't, his grades would be too poor. Mu Xian's grades had always been excellent. Comparing the two, and the fact that the Mu family had raised the wrong child, wasn't something they could hide in their social circle. They hadn't even tried to cover it up. Eventually, everyone would know, and they'd inevitably compare the two. What if it hurt their son's pride? Mu Wanting spoke calmly. Dad, you don't need to worry too much. If Xiao Chen can't keep up, we can hire a private tutor for one-on-one lessons. We can also teach him ourselves when we have time. This semester is almost over. Xiao Chen can start next semester. He can use this time to catch up. I'm sure it won't be a big problem. Pei Shuero's eyes lit up. She clapped her hands happily. Right, why didn't I think of that? We can hire a private tutor, except for the fourth one, who isn't great at studying. You three all have excellent grades. You can definitely tutor Xiao Chen for senior year. Saying this, she made the decision herself. Let Xiao Chen rest at home for a couple of days first. Then you three sisters can take turns, each teaching one subject, to help Xiao Chen get familiar with the school curriculum quickly. Mu Wanting nodded. Okay. Since the eldest sister agreed, the second and third sisters also nodded. Mu Yue didn't know whether to be relieved or annoyed, being looked down on. I was planning to refuse, but seeing all three sisters agree, and Pei Shuero so enthusiastic, I swallowed my refusal. Mu Xian bit his lower lip and lowered his eyes, hiding the deep grievance in them. The fact that the Mu family had raised the wrong child was no secret in their circle. My parents never intended to hide it. The two of them had even planned ahead. Once I was familiar with the environment, they'd throw a banquet, inviting the socialites of the circle to openly restore my identity, so I wouldn't be mocked or wronged when I went out. I didn't really lie such occasions, but I understood it was a necessary process. Otherwise, outsiders would surely speculate, thinking the real son wasn't welcome, or even suppressed by the fake son, Mu Xian. Once I had somewhat adapted to my new environment, Pei Shuero couldn't wait to drag me on a massive shopping spree at the mall. Except for the eldest sister and father, who had to work. Everyone else was dragged out to accompany me shopping, leaving Mu Xian alone behind. Mu Yue sat in the passenger seat, fuming, glaring at me through the rearview mirror from time to time. I couldn't even be bothered to lift my eyelids. I knew exactly what she was mad about. Mu Xian himself didn't want to come. Was I supposed to beg him? We arrived at the mall parking lot. Mu Yue rushed to park the car. Mu Rulin and Mu Yapin accompanied our mother and walked into the mall entrance with me. Starting today's shopping trip, the Mu sisters were in charge of carrying bags the whole time. Pei Shuero affectionately held my arm. As we walked, I suddenly stopped, turned my head and listened carefully for a moment. Mom, did you hear a strange noise? I think I heard a dull thud. Something falling from a height and hitting the ground hard. And it definitely wasn't an ordinary object. That sound was very distinctive. Pei Shuero also listened. No, this is a big mall. It's very lively. Even if there was a sound, it would just be the crowd noise. As she spoke, Mu Rulin noticed something wrong ahead. Faint screams could be heard. Mom, it looks like something happened up ahead. My eyes flickered slightly. I grabbed Pei Shuero's wrist. Mom, let's go check it out. Before anyone could stop me, I was already pulling my mother and running, pushing through the crowd towards the incident, leaving the sisters staring at each other in place. Why is she so nosy? Mu Yue muttered as she caught up after parking. Mu Rulin gave her a faint glance. If Mom hears you, you'll get another scolding. Mu Yue rolled her eyes in exasperation. We should go check it out too. If something really happened, Mom and Xiao Chen could be in danger. Mu Yakin said calmly, and followed after them. Mu Rulin also quickly followed. Mu Yue walked slowly at the back. Pei Shuero was pulled along by her son, and soon reached the crowd. Watching her son push his way through, her mouth twitched a few times. I never would have guessed. Xiao Chen usually seems so aloof, but she's such a curious kid. Oh, it makes her even cuter, doesn't it? But when Pei Shuero saw what was ahead, accident. Her face turned pale instantly. She let out a terrified gasp and instinctively stepped in front of me. Feeling that wasn't enough, she quickly turned and covered my eyes to stop me from seeing the horrifying scene. A serious accident had happened in the mall. I just wanted to see what was going on. Why did she have to cover my eyes? I'm from the underworld. I could tell at a glance how this person died. If it was an unjust death, wouldn't they go to my city of the dead? Wouldn't that make them one of my subjects? The city of the dead is already overcrowded. Mom, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not scared. I gently pulled Pei Shuero's hand down and said very calmly. Pei Shuero rolled her eyes at me. How are you not a kid? You haven't even had your birthday yet. What a miscalculation. I, a 1,000-year-old ghost, now reduced to a child. Mu Rulan caught up and also stood in front of me. I helplessly rubbed my forehead. Mall security came out to handle it immediately and called the police right away. Also called an ambulance and started dispersing the dense crowd. Pei Shuero wasn't about to let me be nosy. She insisted on dragging me away quickly. Affected by the incident, Pei Shuero saw we had bought enough and decided to head home. We could come back another day. Such a life and death incident. Felt really unlucky. Mom, you all go wait in the car. I'll go to the corridor to get some air. Pei Shuero wanted to come with me, but I firmly refused. I'm not a 3-year-old. I don't need a parent to accompany me just to get some air. I followed the signs to the corridor. When I stood by the window, a young man walked over. He was startled to see me by the window, then hurried past with his head down. I stared at his back. My nose twitched slightly. I sniffed the air gently. I caught a whiff of death. I deliberately dawdled by the window. The man soon came back. He was surprised to see me still there, as if he hadn't expected me to still be around. I waited for him to come closer, and sniffed again carefully, confirming that the smell of death was indeed coming from him. Though it was very faint, I couldn't help but give him a deeper look. What are you looking at? Never seen a handsome guy before? He noticed my gaze immediately, and snapped back as if stung, then hurried away with panicked steps. His back looked full of guilt and anxiety. If someone is about to die, they carry a strong aura of death. That man clearly wasn't like that. So there were only two possibilities. Either he got it from someone else, or he killed someone himself. The former had too many possibilities to be sure. The latter was much simpler. I couldn't help but think of the young girl who had fallen from the upper floor in the mall. I calmly patted my hands and turned to leave. Pei Shuero was anxiously waiting in the car. Having just experienced something so terrifying, she had a nagging feeling of unease, afraid that her newly found son would have an accident. Only when we got home safely did her heart finally settle. She quickly put the mall incident out of her mind and busied herself organizing the purchases. I, on the other hand, collapsed on the sofa as soon as I got home, turned on the TV, and continued watching with great interest. Becoming a die-hard TV fan, Mu Rulin and Mu Yakin went to their rooms to study. Both sisters were top students. They would be seniors next year, and their studies were getting very busy. Mu Yue was the most idle. She plopped down on the living room sofa, watching her mother busy upstairs. She couldn't resist being a smart mouth and couldn't help but taunt. Country bumpkin, what's so great about TV? You've never seen the world. My eyes were glued to the TV screen, but my ears heard her words, and I nodded, admitting it very frankly. I grew up in a Taoist temple in the mountains. Of course I haven't seen the world. I'm a prince of the city of the dead. After my sister dumped everything on me, I was busy as a bee. I really didn't have time to follow human affairs. I only knew the general gist. But now that I'm taking Mu Chen's place, I need to learn about this world quickly. I think watching TV is the fastest way. I can learn about everything without leaving home. So convenient. Mu Yue was taken aback. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Bringing that up on purpose to make us feel guilty, wanting us to feel sorry for you. So your place in this family is secure. Mu Yue kept chattering. I gave her a contemptuous look. Lie, I was looking at an idiot. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure coming downstairs. Without any pressure, I loudly tattled. Mom, Mu Yue is insulting me again. She called me a country bumpkin and said I'm deliberately making you feel guilty, wanting you to feel sorry for me. She dislikes me so much. Is she trying to force me to leave this family? Mu Yue's eyes widened. She almost choked on her own blood. Before she could react, her ear was grabbed tightly. Calm down, Mom, calm down. Don't listen to her lies. I absolutely did not. Mu Yue winced in pain, but still tried to defend herself loudly. I pointed at her nose. My cheeks puffed out, with just the right amount of grievance on my face. He said it himself. She called me a country bumpkin, said I've never even seen a TV. I already explained. I grew up in a Taoist temple in the mountains. It's normal that I haven't seen the world. Then she started on me. Mu Yue opened her mouth to retort, but those words were indeed what she said. But that wasn't what she meant. I think you're asking for a beating. Come here, let me teach you a lesson today. Don't bother your brother while he's watching TV. Pei Shuero wasn't soft-hearted this time. She grabbed her ear and pulled her aside, determined to teach this brat a good lesson. What's wrong with this kid? She's so loving towards Mu Xian. Spoils him like some rare treasure. But as soon as Xiao Chen comes back, she targets him. Xiao Chen is her real brother. Blood of her blood. So clueless, clearly not disciplined enough. I coldly watched the crying Mu Yue without a shred of sympathy, and gave her a very smug look, making Mu Yue so mad she could have exploded. I finally understood. Among the 4 Mu daughters, Mu Yue was the dumbest. Hopelessly stupid. My attention returned to the TV screen. I stared intently at the news channel, as if anxiously waiting for something. Sure enough, the local news reported the mall incident. Around 11 a.m. today, a fall occurred at the Four Seasons Mall in the city center. A young woman was seriously injured in a sudden accident at the mall, and died despite rescue efforts. The specific cause of the fall is still under investigation. She really died. I narrowed my eyes slightly. I couldn't help but think of the person I met in the corridor. About the same age. Extremely flustered and guilty. The key is he smells of death. Could that man be connected to the deceased? Was the girl who fell an accident or suicide? Or was she murdered? I wish I could go to the scene right now to see if she died naturally or violently, but I just returned to the Mu family, and I'm not familiar with this city at all. Going out alone is nearly impossible. Thinking of this, I had to put that thought aside for now. After watching the news, I slowly stood up and walked over to the other side, pretending to kindly persuade. Mom, please stop scolding him. Actually, what he said wasn't wrong. I wasn't even finished speaking. Mu Yue shouted angrily. I don't need your fake kindness. This really stirred up a hornet's nest. Pei Shuero, who was almost calm, got furious all over again. Xiao Chen, don't mind this brat. She's tough as nails. Even if the feather duster breaks, it's fine. Mom made you some tonic in the kitchen. Go trek if it's ready. Pei Shuero intentionally sent her son away. I gave Mu Yue a sympathetic glance, then turned and went to the kitchen for food. Mu Yue thought I was just gloating, glaring fiercely at my back. But Pei Shuero caught her in the act. Mu Yue, today she'll break that feather duster for sure. I was still figuring out how to find that man from the hallway. But unexpectedly, the opportunity came to me. The Mu family was hosting a grand recognition banquet. All the high society of Heir. Almost everyone received an invitation from the Mu family. On the day of the banquet, the Mu family villa was bustling with activity. Perfume and shadows, clinking glasses, well-dressed socialites everywhere, and successful men in suits, chatting in small groups. I stayed in my room upstairs. Pei Shuero was busy downstairs, planning to come get me when it was time to formally introduce me to everyone. I changed into my haute couture gown, and when the time was right, I left the room, pausing slightly as I passed Mu Xian's room. I tilted my ear to listen. It's not that I meant to eavesdrop, but the people inside, taking advantage of the noise downstairs, were speaking a bit too loudly, and since I'm no ordinary mortal, I easily recognized the voices. The woman talking to Mu Xian was my aunt by marriage. Because of this grand recognition banquet, the Mu family from the capital all came, including the eldest uncle's family, who inherited the company and ancestral home, and most of the assets. And that lofty Mu grandmother. But I don't think their sincerity was much. The banquet was today. Yet they only arrived last night, taking their time. Mu grandmother stayed at the villa, while the eldest uncle's family went to a hotel downtown. I rested my chin on my hand, thinking, Mu Xian seems to have a good relationship with the eldest uncle's family. That aunt only gave me a fleeting glance, and offered a few perfunctory pleasantries. Just as I was thinking, I heard footsteps inside. I quickly retreated to my room. After they left the room and went downstairs, I opened the door and came out again. Pei Shuero was just coming upstairs to get me. Seeing me all dressed up, she smiled, her eyes full of love and admiration. Xiao Chen, you look so handsome tonight. That's not an exaggeration at all. Pei Shuero thought it was probably due to cultivation and less worldly entanglements that gave him this clean, transparent aura. The more she looked, the more she liked him. The more she looked, the more she adored him. She silently vowed in her heart to do everything to protect her son and keep him like this forever, so he could be carefree for life. It's almost time. Mom will take you downstairs, I asked casually as we walked. Shouldn't we call Mu Xian too? No need. Tonight's banquet is for you. He's with his aunt right now. It's fine. Let's call him. He'll probably overthink it again. That kid's been sensitive lately, and they don't know what to do about it. Aunt seems to dote on him a lot. From what I've learned recently, my chief dad and his eldest brother don't seem close. Otherwise, after the family split, they wouldn't have come to Heir to start from scratch, even though they go back to the capital for reunions every year. That's purely out of respect for Mu grandmother. So why does Aunt favor Mu Xian so much? Pei Shuero didn't find it strange, and patiently explained. You know your dad's family situation. He has an older brother and an older sister. Your uncle and aunt don't have a son. Your aunt has a son, but he doesn't carry the Mu name. I only gave birth to you, my precious son. Saying this, Pei Shuero's brows showed guilt. The one who should have enjoyed all this affection should have been his Xiao Chen. He's the little master the Mu family cherishes, but fate played a cruel trick. Thinking of these past events, she felt another pang of sadness. I raised an eyebrow slightly. So that's the reason? I've been back in the Mu family for over half a month. Tonight is my first official appearance. Pei Shuero and Mu Fu flanked me. I slowly descended the stairs. My appearance and demeanor instantly captivated everyone, holding the gaze of all the guests. Without any hint of timidity or shrinking, the aura I exuded in every move was clearly that of a young master, meticulously raised by a wealthy family. Mu Xian, seeing me in the spotlight, felt his heart tighten, staring fixedly at my figure, unable to hide his disappointment and deep jealousy. Mu Xian, don't panic. He's just putting on a show now. Anyone can pretend. You're the young master the Mu family raised. Don't you forget that. You've lived in the Mu family for over a decade, even if he's the biological one. So what? Feelings take time to build. Lu Manqi noticed Mu Xian's emotional turmoil and patted his hand reassuringly, whispering softly to comfort him. Mu Xian forced a bitter smile. Aunt, I'm fine. I'm actually het pie for them. Mom and Dad found their biological son. That's a wonderful thing. I've enjoyed so much in the Mu family all these years. In the end, I owe Xiao Chen. Lu Manqi glared at him in annoyance and scolded softly. What does this have to do with you? You were just a bee-bye back then. It was their negligence as parents that led to the mix-up. No one can blame you for that, alright? Put your heart at ease and don't overthink it. I know your parents well. They've raised you with care all these years. Even if their biological son is back now, they won't stop loving you. You need to keep the right mindset. Don't lower yourself. In short, remember this. You've done nothing wrong. You haven't wronged anyone. Do you understand? Mu Xian bit his lip and nodded slightly, without saying anything more annoying. His parents wouldn't stop loving him, but it could never be the same as before. Before, at home, and even in the entire Mu family, whether in Heir or the capital, he was the only honored one in the Mu family. The whole family held him in their hands, always giving him whatever he wanted. Everyone's eyes and hearts were on him. But now, he clearly felt the huge gap. Ever since Mu Chen came back, Mom and Dad don't see him anymore. Their hearts and eyes are only on Mu Chen. Even his sisters are the same. Only fourth sister still wholeheartedly supports him. Thinking about it, Mu Xian felt incredibly wronged. Everything that was once his now had to be split in half. Introduced me to all the guests while he was lost in thought. Mu father and Pei Shuero had already grandly introduced me to the guests, not hiding their importance and lot for me. Even the four Mu sisters stood by their parents' side. This scene, in everyone's eyes, naturally took on a different meaning. The Mu family is going too far with Mu Xian. The whole family is being all lovey-dovey. Why are they leaving you out? Lu Manqi went to socialize. The wealthy young masters who usually befriend Mu Xian gathered around, complaining indignantly. Don't talk nonsense. Tonight is Xiao Chen's night. This banquet is especially for him. He's the rightful protagonist. What would it look like if I joined in? It wasn't that Mu father and Pei Shuero intentionally left him out. Before this, Shuero had suggested Mu Xian come on stage too, but Mu Xian firmly refused. He insisted Mu Chen was the true young master, and this banquet was for Mu Chen, so he really shouldn't be up there. His words were very reasonable. Shuero thought about it, and felt that having him stand aside might not be good for him, because it would inevitably invite comparison, making his situation even more awkward, so they dropped the idea. But even though he dropped it, Mu Xian still felt wronged. This time, even though he said that, his tone couldn't hide his disappointment, which made his friends even more outraged for him. Mu Xian, even though Mu Chen is a real young master, you've been in the Mu family for over a decade. There's no reason for them to push you out just because he's back. The Mu family can afford to raise another son by order of arrival. He's the outsider who came later. You can't use order of arrival to argue this. He's mom and dad's biological son. He suffered so much in that mountain temple. While I enjoy all the comforts in the Mu family, it's natural for him to be upset. I can understand all that. I definitely won't hold it against him. Mu Xian put on a magnanimous act. His friend beside him curled his lip in disdain, not hiding his contempt and scorn. A kid raised in a mountain temple, probably never even seen a TV. Hard to imagine such a country bumpkin exists. You and that bumpkin. Anyone with a brain knows who to favor. You're the young master the Mu family raised with money and power. How can that bumpkin compare? If Uncle Mu and Aunt Pei can't see that, they'll regret it one day. Just wait for that bumpkin to embarrass the Mu family and make them a laughingstock in high society. Mu Xian, you can't be too weak. The more you give in, the easier it is for others to bully you. You have to fight for what's yours. Mu Xian nodded repeatedly. I know. Don't worry. No one bullies me at home. Fourth sister is still as good to me as before. Seemingly reassuring words were actually stirring the pot, only mentioning that Mu Yue treats him the same, which is a roundabout way of saying the other three sisters aren't as attentive to him anymore. They prefer their biological brother over the adopted one. Mu Xian knew when to stop and didn't continue. He didn't really want to do anything bad. He just saw Mu Chen stealing the spotlight and suddenly worried he'd quickly integrate into the circle and take all the attention that belonged to him. So he thought he'd see with his friends first. Word of mouth spreads. Even if it can't really stop anything, at least it might have some effect, right? Just as they were talking, several people saw the absolute star of the night. That is, me walking towards them. Their expressions shifted slightly, but quickly wore some comforting themselves. He didn't hear what we said. What's there to be afraid of? Mu Xian was also a bit nervous inside, so he didn't notice that one of his friends turned pale at the sight of me and quickly lowered his eyes, his hands unconsciously twisting together, then quickly letting go as if shocked, forcing a natural calm. You look really handsome tonight. Mu Xian smiled softly, complimenting. I nodded slightly. Of course I look handsome. Isn't that obvious? It's really some kind of strange fate. His appearance actually resembles mine a bit. When I saw Mu Chen's soul in the city of the dead, even I was surprised. I didn't expect this new unfortunate soul to look somewhat limey. Later, I thought about it carefully. This must be fate. I accepted the compliment with complete ease. My gaze fell on the man beside Mu Xian. Mu Xian seemed a bit surprised, glanced at his friend, then introduced him. This is my good friend, Jiang Yan. He's the youngest son of the Jiang family. Mu Xian has known Jiang Yan the longest. They've been inseparable friends since elementary school, sticking together all the way to now. So it's young Master Jiang. I deliberately drew out the last syllable, my tone hinting at something deeper. Mu Xian looked at us strangely and asked in confusion, Xiao Chen, do you know Jiang Yan? Before I could answer, Jiang Yan hurriedly denied it. No, we don't know each other at all. But he was too eager, which made it seem very suspicious. My smile grew even more meaningful. We really don't know each other. I just ran into him in the mall hallway a few days ago. I deliberately dragged out my words, but before I could finish, Jiang Yan cut me off in a rush. I suddenly remembered I have urgent business. I'll take my leave now. We'll catch up another day. With that, he turned and fled before Mu Xian could respond. His retreating figure looked like a complete escape. I had come over to tell him anyway. I didn't expect Jiang Yan to have such weak nerves. Isn't he practically telling me that something is definitely wrong? If there were nothing wrong, why would he be so flustered? Thinking this, I turned my gaze to Mu Xian. Mu Xian stiffened under my stare, feeling inexplicably nervous and uneasy. Stammering, what's wrong? This friend of yours. I spoke slowly, as if deliberately keeping Mu Xian in suspense. Xiao Chen, if Jiang Yan ever offended you, please don't hold it against him. He definitely didn't mean to offend you. He's actually a good person. I shrugged it off with a smile. It's nothing. Since he's your good friend, then invite him over to the house another day. Mu Xian was clearly taken aback, opening his mouth to say something, but I didn't give him the chance. Let's make it the day after tomorrow. Invite him over. I'll have the kitchen prepare in advance. Make some fancy desserts for him. The day after tomorrow, the eldest uncle's family will be back in the capital. My tone wasn't a suggestion, but a cold, hard notice. I turned and walked away, not giving Mu Xian any chance to refuse. Mu Xian and his friend looked at each other in confusion, full of questions. I had my reasons for targeting Jiang Yan, besides smelling death on him that day. Later, the news also reported that the girl who fell at the mall died in an accidental fall. If it was really an accident, that would be fine. But the problem is, I clearly felt resentment. The resentment from that fallen girl. Even though I'm in the mortal world now, when a new member joins the city of the dead, I can still sense it. When Yimo got caught up in a dispute and tragically fell to her death, but the truth was covered up. There are so many natural and unnatural deaths every day. I can't sense every violent death. It requires some kind of connection. I think it's because I was at the scene that day and had close contact with the deceased that I keenly felt her resentment. The city of the dead is where those who die unexpectedly go. Those who die naturally follow normal procedures. The underworld judges their next destination based on their life. Most people are reincarnated. A few ascend due to merit, and some are sent to the city of the dead until their original lifespan ends. If they were innocently involved, they must wait for the truth to come out and their resentment to dissipate before they can reincarnate. But now the city of the dead is overcrowded. Souls that should have been reincarnated can't leave, staying there day after day, year after year. Many still come to the city of the dead, but fewer and fewer leave. If this continues, the city of the dead will cease to exist, and countless souls will vanish. The reason is that the gate of rebirth is closed and can't be opened, so souls naturally can't leave. My sister and I have pondered this for a long time, tried many solutions, but none worked. Later, and my sister and I finally understood. That's why I came to the mortal world. My purpose here is to collect merit and faith, to reopen the gate of rebirth, and restore the city of the dead to operation. Now that an opportunity has come to me, I can't just push it away. Mu Xian thought it over and over, but couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. After the banquet, he told Pei Shuero about it. He thought that with how much Pei Shuero dotes on me now, she might refuse, but unexpectedly, she happily agreed. He couldn't get out through Pei Shuero. When he ran into Mu Yue, his eyes flickered as usual. He greeted her, then put on a hesitant look. Anyone could see he had something to say, especially Mu Yue, who cares about him. Originally, Mu Yue wanted to avoid him. She felt a bit guilty. She thought Xiao Xian was wrong tonight, but there was nothing she could do. Xiao Xian grew up with her, and they've spoiled him for over a decade. But Xiao Chen is also her biological brother. Both are dear to her. To keep Xiao Xian from feeling wronged, and let Xiao Chen suffer instead. That's not right. If she did that, Mom and Dad would kick her out. So for now, she didn't know how to face him, and thought it best to avoid Xiao Xian. But seeing him look so troubled, wanting to say something but holding back, she still felt sorry for him. Xiao Chen, do you have something to tell fourth sister? Mu Xian bit his lip, hesitating. Fourth sister, Xiao Chen. I don't know if Jiang Yan offended Xiao Chen and made him unhappy. If that's the case, I'm willing to apologize on Jiang Yan's behalf. But Xiao Chen, he asked me to invite Jiang Yan over. Fourth sister, do you think Xiao Chen wants to cause trouble? Mu Yue frowned deeply, clearly finding my actions strange too. After a moment, she said, it's fine. I'm Fry anyway. I'll stay home that day. I won't let him do anything rash. Mu Xian was silent for a moment. Fourth sister, can we just forget it? Xiao Chen is also my brother, and Jiang Yan is my friend. I don't want them to have any conflict. Mu Yue scratched her head. Xiao Xian, look at the situation at home now. You know, if he wants to invite your friend over, Mom and Dad will definitely agree. Not only agree, but be happy about it. So there's no reason to refuse. If I say no, Mom will definitely make fun of me. Seeing Mu Xian's disappointed face, Mu Yue patted her chest and promised, don't worry, I'll keep an eye on him. I definitely won't let him bully Jiang Yan. With that said, Mu Xian had no other choice. The reason he wanted to stop it was also because he had a vague sense of unease. He trusted his intuition, but since he couldn't stop it, he'd have to think of another way. The night passed peacefully, and the guests were all happy. Since I returned to the Mu family, I've always been Fry. That's true in every way. Pei Shuero and Mu father never demanded anything of me. They never told me what I had to do. They just said to do whatever makes me comfortable at home. I sleep in every day until I naturally wake up. Anyway, there's nothing to do if I get up early. Plus, I stay up late every night surfing the internet to get familiar with and understand this world. Sleeping late is understandable. No one in the Mu family would say anything to me, but I forgot there are a few more people now, and they seem to not lie me very much. This morning, as soon as I came downstairs, someone scolded me. The elders are all up already, and you, sleeping until now. Mu grandmother saw me come downstairs. She rolled her eyes and gave me a sideways glance, saying it with great dissatisfaction. Look at our Xiao Xian, up early helping prepare breakfast. You should learn from Xiao Xian in this regard. At least show some filial piety to your elders. Pei Shuero wasn't happy to hear that. Mom, there's nothing much to do at home. That needs help with. The kids can sleep as long as they want. Besides, it's not late yet. Fourth sister hasn't even gotten up. And besides, filial piety isn't measured by how early you get up. Pei Shuero instinctively defended her own son, but she didn't realize that by defending him, her words hurt Mu Xian's feelings. Wasn't she implying he got up early to make breakfast just to curry favor? I was unmoved and sat down leisurely, looking at Mu Xian with a sudden realization. I've been back for quite a while now. It seems I've never had breakfast you prepared. Did you make too little and everyone finished it? Did you not save any for me? I see you get up later than me every day, so you actually get up first to make breakfast and then go back to sleep. Mu Xian blushed with shame. He felt uncomfortable after I came back. Out of awkwardness, he tried to avoid me, so he got up very late. Plus, it was the holidays. Apart from coming down for 3 meals a day, he basically stayed in his room the rest of the time. As for breakfast, there are servants at home. He is a young master of the Mu family. How could he possibly cook often? Seeing Grandma praise you so much, then the breakfast you make must be delicious. I want to try it tomorrow, I said with a smile. I wasn't forcing Mu Xian to make breakfast, but the implication was clear. Mu grandmother was even more displeased. There are servants at home. Why are you ordering Xiao Xian around? I looked at her in confusion. How is this ordering around? She keeps calling him my brother. What's wrong with a brother making breakfast for his younger brother? Besides, I'm doing this to show filial piety to Grandma. Everyone at the table, except Pei Shuilong, had expressions lie they were hearing nonsense. My expression was very serious. Cooking skills are developed through practice. Without practice, how can you get good cooking skills? Making breakfast for Grandma. What if the cooking is bad and something goes wrong? Grandma is so old now. Her body can't handle the trouble. Saying that, I sighed again. With a selfless look, I'm different. I'm young and have suffered a lot before. I'm used to it, so it's perfect for him to practice on. To be a guinea pig. Even Pei Shuero's rose-tinted glasses shattered. Such shameless words. How did Xiao Chen say them without changing his expression? Mu Xian was almost driven to tears by my taunts. Lu Manqi frowned deeply. This child's temperament is too strong. Your grandma just said one thing to you, and you talked back 10 times. Aren't you afraid of angering your grandma? Besides, Xiao Xian's good deed was twisted by you. He looked at me disapprovingly. I know you're angry inside. You think Xiao Xian has enjoyed blessings for so many years and taken what's yours. But Xiao Xian was just a bee by back then. What did he know? He's as innocent as you. Why do you have to target him? Xiao Xian has a gentle nature and says he treats you as a brother. Then he definitely treats you as a brother. Why not just have another brother to dote on you? Why bother? He shook his head, looking disappointed. Pei Shuero was furious inside. She held back and didn't explode, but her expression clearly turned ugly. Sister-in-law, you misunderstood. Xiao Chen isn't targeting anyone. He's just too straightforward. He doesn't know how to beat around the bush. He really has no ill intentions. Yeah, what ill intentions do I have? I'm not targeting him either. My attitude towards him is better than towards fourth sister. If you don't believe me, ask him. I know he's innocent too. That's why I didn't let Mom and Dad kick him out. Let him continue to be the young master of the Mu family. Isn't that enough? I'm almost moved by my own kindness. I've never seen someone as tolerant as me. My face was innocent and pure. I've done this much. And Aunt still thinks I'm bullying him. Does she want me to give up my identity too? And give up my real parents to him? I deliberately emphasized the word words real parents. Lu Manqi was completely choked up. What else could she say? Maybe my expression was too sincere, so much so that Lu Manqi couldn't figure out whether I said that on purpose or not. Mu grandmother was also choked up. She instinctively wanted to use her elder status to suppress me, but I didn't give her a chance to speak. You're also worried I'll bully Mu Xian. I heard from mom and dad that everyone dotes on him. How about this? From now on, let him lie with grandma. Anyway, he's not a child anymore. He doesn't need constant care. Living with grandma, he can be more filial to her and make breakfast for grandma every day. I playfully shook my head. This way, he can be filial to grandma, and you don't have to worry about me bullying him. Kill two birds with one stone. The whole table fell silent. Mu grandmother and Lu Manqi stared at me. Pei Shuero didn't know what expression to make. As for Mu Xian, of course, he was scared. Xiao Chen, please stop talking. Grandma and aunt didn't mean that. They're just too worried about me. But I haven't suffered any injustice. Mom, dad, and my sisters are still good to me. Of course, you haven't bullied me. Grandma and aunt, don't take it to heart. If he moved to lie with grandma, then what would his status be? Wouldn't it be even more awkward? He is a son of the Mu family. He will be forever. His eyes pleaded, looking at the two elders. They truly did dote on him. For his sake, they swallowed their anger. The atmosphere at the table finally returned to normal, but everyone ate without much taste. Of course, that didn't include me. I ate with great relish. I even had an extra bowl than usual. Thick millet porridge with side dishes. So refreshing and appetizing. Seeing me lie this, those two elders felt a fire burning in their hearts. On the third day, as soon as the eldest branch and Mu grandmother left, I urged Mu Xian to invite Jiang Yan over. Jiang Yan wanted to refuse, but thinking about what happened in the hallway, she made up her mind and came to the Mu family as promised. Pei Shuero was very enthusiastic and had Mu Xian accompany her. As for me, I arrived late. As soon as she saw me, the guilty Jiang Yan immediately became nervous. She was still thinking about how to avoid the Mu family and have a good talk with me, but I didn't play by the rules. I tilted my chin towards Mu Yue and Mu Xian. You two, step aside for a moment. I have something to discuss with this Mr. Jiang. Mu Xian's face changed color. Jiang Yan was his good friend, and now he was being asked to step aside. Mu Chen, what do you want to do? If Jiang Yan has offended you in any way, just make it clear. You can't invite someone over and then bully them. I glanced at Mu Yue with disdain. If you have nothing to do, use your brain. It's not just for decoration, and it's not just to make you look taller. Of the four Mu sisters, the other three seem quite smart and have good judgment. Why is this one so different? Mu Yue was furious. She opened her mouth to say something else, but I called out loudly, Mom. Mu Yue shuddered and instinctively shut her mouth. Pei Shuero quickly came out when she heard the call. Xiao Chen, what's wrong? Mom, can I take Mu Xian's friend to the garden? Pei Shuero didn't find it strange at all. Instead, she smiled and said, go ahead. The sun is quite strong right now. Don't get sunburned. Mu Xian quickly chimed in. I'll come too. He was really worried. He always felt I had an ulterior motive for inviting Jiang Yan. I don't care about saving face. I directly refused. No need. We'll be back soon. You stay and keep him company. I glanced at Mu Yue sarcastically. He specifically stayed home to keep watch, to prevent others from bullying you. After saying that, I turned and left, not worried that Jiang Yan wouldn't follow. Mu Yue was embarrassed and increasingly felt that this biological brother was very calculating. Look at what he just said. Wasn't he just bad-mouthing her to Mom, implying that she suspected she would bully Xiao Xian? That's why she stayed home. This schemer, what do you want from me? Jiang Yan looked at me warily and asked, not waiting for me to respond, then quickly said, I don't know what you want to do. I didn't offend you that day in the hallway. Is it just because I glared at you? I interrupted him. What's your relationship with the person who fell? Did you have contact with them before the incident? Or? I slowly turned around, tilting my head. My clear eyes could see through everything. Actually, it's related to you, isn't it? Jiang Yan's face changed drastically, and she denied it shrilly. But her eyes couldn't hide a trace of fear and panic. Whether it's nonsense or not, you know best. That was a covered-up accident. He was implicated and lost his life. What if I go and report it? Jiang Yan's words had already revealed important information. I spread my hands. What evidence do I need? I just need to say it. Naturally, someone will find the evidence. I wonder if Mr. Zhang's reputation would be affected if such a thing gets out. Are you threatening me? Don't think that just because you're the young master, I'm afraid of you. Compared to Xiao Xian. What are you? Do you think you can replace Xiao Xian? Dream on. Xiao Xian has lived in the Mu family for over 10 years. His bond with the family is something you can't met. I looked at her strangely. Why would I compare myself to Mu Xian? He's an adopted son. I'm the biological son. To replace an adopted son, I'm not crazy. Also, let me correct you. I'm not threatening you. I'm reminding you that if you want no one to know, don't do it. That was a living human life. Do you think just because the case is closed, everything is fine? I said meaningfully and then turned and left. I wanted to clarify just to save time, even if I don't say anything. When that girl's resentment is strong enough, my identity will also make her come to me. Jiang Yan didn't take my words to heart at all. Mu Xian wanted to ask me what I said. That made Jiang Yan storm off angrily. Did I really bully someone? But my expression made him feel that if he asked, I would definitely make him want to find a hole to crawl into. I was still pondering when the matter would blow up. I didn't expect it to be surprisingly fast. Seeing the matter blowing up on Lie, I felt it was only natural. I watch TV every day and learn a lot. In this society, everything is fast. Once something is posted on Lie, it's more effective than any publicity. I think this is indeed the fastest way. Maybe because they encountered it at the mall. Pei Shuero also sighed when she saw the news. Originally thought it was a simple accident. Didn't expect such a thing to come out. If it's Lie what her parents said, then it's really too tragic. That girl who fell was only 25. So young. I heard she was an only child, and now she's gone. No wonder her parents can't accept it. They insist on making a big deal out of it. If it were her son who died inexplicably, she would definitely go crazy too. Thinking this, Pei Shuero quickly spat in her heart. She just found Xiao Chen, and there's still a long life ahead. Mother and son still have plenty of time together. The deceased's parents revealed to the media. Their daughter was quiet and well-behaved, with few friends. Her family background was average. She usually didn't have high expenses. Unlike other kids her age who loved to shop, she rarely bought personal items. The money she earned from work was all given to them. For household expenses, not keeping any for herself. She usually went to work and came straight home. But the place she fell from was a high-end mall. A place she couldn't afford. She was a bit unusual the day she went out. They didn't think much of it at the time. They never expected it to turn out like this. At first, they thought it was an accident, but when sorting her belongings, they discovered the secret. Their daughter had suffered unfair treatment, so they suspect her death wasn't an accident. They want the truth and justice. Mu Xian's eyes were shifty. He didn't dare to look directly at the parents on TV. His hands on his knees were clasped and rubbing together. His face was unnaturally pale. I noticed his expression changed when he saw the news. His demeanor was very strange. Thinking about his relationship with Jiang Yan, my heart stirred, and I spoke up abruptly. What are you so flustered about? Do you know the deceased? Or have you done something shameful? Mu Xian seemed startled. He suddenly looked up and stared at me, his voice sharp as he retorted. Xiao Chen, what nonsense are you talking about? Even if you're dissatisfied with me, you can't just say things like that. that. Pei Shuero was stunned for a moment, then startled by the sharp voice. Xiao Xian, do you know this poor girl? Is she a relative of one of your classmates? That's not impossible. Xiao Xian goes to a private high school. Tuition is expensive. The school admits outstanding students every year. These types usually come from average families. They can't afford tuition but have excellent grades. Maybe she's a relative of a classmate. Mu Xian's face changed slightly again. If you have nothing to hide, why can't you say it? You and that Mr. Jiang are both very strange. You dodge and feel guilty whenever this matter is brought up. It's almost lie you're saying. It's related to us. You've seen the news. The matter has already blown up. It's easy to investigate and find out. It's better to speak up early and think of a solution. Pei Shuero didn't believe it at first, but seeing Mu Xian's expression, her heart suddenly sank. Mom, I really didn't. Mu Xian panicked. What kind of person am I? Xiao Chen doesn't know. But don't you, Mom? No, I'm the son you raised for over 10 years. Seeing him put on that wronged look again, I wanted to roll my eyes. Stop pretending. It's a classic case of protesting too much. Even if you didn't do it, you're definitely involved. I'll just see how long they can hold out. I got up and went upstairs. Mu Xian's face turned red and then pale. He was so angry that tears fell. Mom, you saw it too. Ever since Xiao Chen came back, I've been giving in at every turn. I know I have no right to compete with him, and I shouldn't compete with him. I also want to get along well with him, and be filial to you and Dad together. But he finds fault with everything I do. He criticizes me no matter what I do. Today, Jiang Yan left in a huff. I don't know what he did to her. Mom, tell me, what do I need to do? Otherwise, I'll just move out, even though I'm not an adult yet. I think I can support myself. You've raised me for so many years. You've already done me a great kindness. I can't ask for more. He seemed to want to vent all his fear, worry, and grievance. Covering his face, he cried sadly. Pei Shuero's heart ached. Both sides are dear to her. Xiao Chen is her biological son, so of course she loves him. But Xiao Xian has been raised by her for over 10 years. He's not biological, but he's a biological son. She wasn't foolish enough to expect them to truly love each other, as long as they could coexist peacefully. And Xiao Chen also said he didn't mind keeping Xiao Xian. But Xiao Chen's mouth is indeed sharp. He doesn't know how to be tactful. At home, family can tolerate it, but what about outside? Her thoughts started to drift. Mu Xian's crying didn't get a comforting response, and he faltered. He looked up slightly and felt even more wronged. Mom was actually spacing out of the time like this. Now he was truly heartbroken. As soon as I returned to my room, I sensed something unusual. I waved my hand and set up a barrier. Come out. After a while, a blurry figure tremblingly floated out. I glanced over. The figure immediately shrank into a corner. Even as a ghost, you're still this timid. No wonder you were bullied by a few rich brats. I seriously doubt such a timid person wouldn't be much better as a ghost. What can he do? Can he really trigger an opportunity? I expressed deep doubt. How did you find your way here? If you don't speak, I'll throw you out. The figure was frightened and quickly said, I am Wen Yimo. A few days ago, I had an accident at the mall. Saying this, her voice became low. It took me several days to accept this fact. Unbelievable, but I had to accept it. When I fell that day, I knew I wouldn't survive. Even if I didn't die, I'd be seriously injured. My family couldn't afford the medical bills, so it was better to just die. For a moment, I didn't know whether to be glad. So what do you want to do? Get revenge? Wen Yimo was stunned. Revenge? Can I get revenge? If you don't want revenge, why are you looking for me? If you didn't want revenge, you wouldn't be lingering in the human world. I can't let go of my parents. Your parents, as you've seen, you're their only daughter, and now you're gone. They won't let it go. They seem ready to fight to the death. When Yima was silent for a long time before murmuring, they can't fight those people. Her voice was trembling. I think I understand. It's not that she doesn't hate or want revenge. It's that she's been bullied for too long. The fear is etched into her soul. Even as a ghost, she's still afraid of people. This reflects she has deeply experienced the oppression brought by power. Can you help me? I know you're different. You can help me, right? She suddenly looked up and begged me. She didn't know who this boy in front of her was, or why he could see her. Since he could see her and wasn't panicked at all, then he must have a special feeling. Something was guiding her, so he must be able to help, right? I smiled slightly. How do you want me to help you? This question stumped her. How should I help? If she doesn't have an idea herself, how can she ask others? Doesn't she hate it? Of course she does. It wasn't an accident. The fall was a covered-up altercation. When the accident happened, besides fear and despair, there was also deep resentment. Why did they do this to her? She just couldn't stand seeing rich brats bullying someone. She stepped in to stop and scold them. Why did she end up dying unjustly? She worked at a bubble tea shop. A few rich brats often came to drink. Later, they started causing trouble in the shop. She tried to stop them but was insulted and threatened. Really angry, she deliberately said she was recording and would expose them on live if they continued. Only then did they back off and stop bullying. She thought it was just a small incident in life. She never expected to have provoked demons. From then on, the retaliation began. They deliberately isolated and pushed her out at school. They teamed up with others to spread rumors and humiliate her. She wanted to quit, but they threatened the bot and found her address, alarming her parents. They stuffed trash into her desk. They deliberately destroyed her study materials, one thing after another. She thought it would stop once they got bored, but in the end, it cost her life. Afterward, it was just dismissed as an accidental fall. The truth was hidden and ignored. Thinking back on this, her resentment surged. The air in the room stirred, and the curtains moved. The lampshade tassels swayed, rustling. I want them to taste this feeling. I want them to get what they deserve. I rested my chin, thinking about what they deserve. Sending them to jail? That wouldn't be hard. When Yimo's inner resentment was triggered, she changed from timid to cold and dark. Her face twisted slightly. Jail. Their families won't let them go to jail. Even if they do, it won't be for long. My life for a few years in prison? Is my life really that cheap? She didn't accept it. So, how about a life for a life? I said it lightly, as if it were the simplest thing. It made Wen Yimo pause. Her boiling resentment stalled for a moment. If that's possible, then of course, that's best. But can you do it? She asked cautiously. If that's possible, then of course, that's best. Why should he be gone, while others can just go on living as if nothing happened? Does dying mean dying for nothing? Justice from the law might not make up for anything. I smiled slightly. Of course I can. When Yimo's eyes burst with surprise. Can you really help me get revenge? Will you be at peace after getting revenge? She nodded, then paused. Her face was full of loneliness and sadness. I can let go of the resentment, but I can't let go of my parents. I'm their only child. I thought for a moment and said, your parents aren't that old yet. Maybe they can have another child. She never expected to hear that, thinking that her parents were indeed young enough to have another child. If that's the case, then she could be at ease. So when will you help me get revenge? What price do I need to pay? My eyes flickered. I smiled meaningfully. Don't worry. I won't help you for nothing, but it won't be something you can't bear. Let's talk about payment after it's done. I'm not an ordinary person. What I want naturally isn't ordinary. When Yimo nodded without hesitation. Then just wait. This needs the right timing. She nodded, then remembered something and asked nervously, can you protect my parents for me? I'm from the underworld, not some heavenly god. I handle matters of the dead, not the living. Seeing me stay silent, her eyes turned red. If you can't, then forget it. Seeing her pitiful state, I said, don't worry. Your parents should be fine. This matter has blown up quite a bit now. If something happens now, it'll be a mess. Mom, I'm going out for a bit, I said to Pei Shuero. Pei Shuero was stunned. Going out? Where are you going? I'll have the driver take you. No need. I'll take the bot myself. It's not convenient with the driver around. But Xiao Chen hasn't been out alone since he came back. He's not familiar with Heir either. What if he gets lost going out alone? I could see her worry. Mom, it's fine. I know the way. Besides, I can just tell the driver the address. That's still not Oku. There are a lot of bad people out there now. How about this? I'll have your fourth sister go with you. You can do whatever you need to do. And your fourth sister can run errands for you. Hurry up and wake up Mu Yue, who's still in bed. Mu Yue heard her mother's words and exploded. Mom, I'm her sister, not her little sidekick. If you're worried about her, just have the driver follow her. Why do I have to go with her? I won't do it. She shouted and glared at me. I glanced at her sideways with a very disdainful expression. You think I want you to come along? Mom's worried and insisted you come. Mom, look at her. Mu Yue angrily pointed at me. Pei Shuero slapped her hand down. You have to go whether you like it or not. You said it yourself. It's just a sister going out with her brother to run some errands. Why do you have so many opinions? What do you want? Pei Shuero's face darkened. She looked at her sternly. Mu Yue was intimidated by that look. Her anger immediately deflated. It's settled. Hurry up and eat breakfast. Xiao Chen is about to leave. She held back tears, feeling wronged. Go get ready. Where exactly are you going? In the car, Mu Yue asked with a dark face. Fry labor. Why not use it? I calmly ordered her to drive forward. I'll give you directions. I was treating her like a driver. Mu Yue was furious, but there was nothing she could do. She followed my directions, driving around in circles. The roads got more unfamiliar and narrower. Even she was confused. Having lived in Heir for so many years, she never knew Heir had a place like this. Mu Yue obediently parked the car, parked outside a rundown neighborhood. Sitting in the driver's seat, looking outside, a deep confusion welled up inside her. All right, wait for me here. I got out and slammed the car door, threw out a sentence and left, not giving Mu Yue a chance to ask anything. She originally wanted to ask what I was doing, but my attitude was really infuriating. In a fit of anger, she just gave up. I easily entered the neighborhood. I didn't stop walking, went straight toward one of the buildings. The old neighborhood had poor greenery. The exterior walls were peeling and worn. There wasn't even an elevator. The stairs also showed signs of decay. I walked all the way up to the 4th floor, turned left. On the 4th floor, I vaguely heard crying. If I wasn't wrong, it was coming from the Wen family. Standing at the Wen family's door, I reached out and knocked. I need to find an assistant quickly. Here I am, the prince of the city of the dead. How did I end up doing everything myself? This doesn't fit my status as the prince. The sound inside paused. Then footsteps sounded. Soon, a voice from behind the door asked who it was. I'm a friend of Wen Yimo. The room was quiet for a moment. Then the door opened a crack. Someone looked at me through the gap. Seeing I was young, they relaxed a bit. Are you a colleague of Xiao Mo's? I nodded. Only then did the person inside open the door to let me in. Once inside, I didn't waste words. I know when Yimo was killed. When Yimo's parents weren't old, but they aged quickly after their daughter's death. Their hair was once all black. Now it was mixed with many silver strands. The wrinkles on their faces had deepened. Their eyes were full of grief and pain, and suppressed hatred. How do you know? How do you know Xiao Emo was killed? Do you know something? Tell me, quickly. Wen's mother was originally listless, but upon hearing my words, she became agitated. She grabbed my hand tightly. I can see Wen Yimo. I can also help you. Wen's father and mother were stunned. They didn't understand what I meant. Their daughter had already passed away. What did she mean by saying she could see her? Although they insisted on not cremating her. To find the truth, they had kept their daughter in the morgue. This young man couldn't go to the morgue, could he? The couple had absurd thoughts in their minds. I can see your daughter's soul. I can help you fulfill your wishes. I spoke, and Wen's mother's crying paused. She looked at me through her tears. Her expression was a bit dazed. Their wish was, of course, to find the murderer who killed their daughter, and make the murderer get the punishment they deserve. No, that's not enough. If it's just a few years in prison, that's far from enough. How can a few years in prison compare to their Xiao Mo's life? Who killed Xiao Mo? Then they should pay a heavy price. Wen's mother's eyes turned with intense hatred. Whatever you want, I can help you accomplish it, but you need to pay a little price. I made it very clear. Besides merit, I also need to collect the most genuine, kind, and righteous emotions from the human world. The most benevolent and righteous. The door of rebirth is the door to a new life. Life means beginning, means hope and joy. Death means ending, means despair and sorrow. And life and death are a cycle. Between the cycles, there is much selfishness and greed, hypocrisy and malice. I need to collect these to purify resentment, to keep resentment within a balanced range. After hearing my words, Wen's mother didn't hesitate. No matter what you want, as long as you can really help us, I'll give you anything, even if you want my life. I smiled. It's not that serious. I told them everything I knew from Wen Yimo. I laid it all out. Without any concealment. After hearing it, the couple cried bitterly again. Seeing this, I just sighed slightly. Parting in life and death is indeed the hardest thing in the world to accept. Wen's mother suddenly knelt on the ground while crying, and fiercely kowtowed. I want them to pay the price. I want them to lie in regret for the rest of their lives. Beyond extreme resentment, Wen's mother and father were also filled with guilt and regret. Why didn't they notice their daughter's change sooner? If they had known about her predicament earlier, they would have definitely helped her quit. They could have taken her somewhere else. Wen's father tried hard to control himself, but tears still streamed down his face. He tightly covered his face with one hand, unable to hide the grief and regret on his face. Me too. I want them to pay the price they deserve. I told Wen's father and mother, wait for my news, and then I walked out of the building. Through the car window, I saw Mu Yue asleep. Her mouth was half open. You could tell she was sleeping deeply. The corner of my mouth twitched. And she calls herself my sister? I'd be embarrassed to have her as a younger sister. I was about to knock on the window to wake her, but then I stopped. I was just thinking about how to get rid of Mu Yue. Having her around all the time wasn't convenient. Since she was asleep, I might as well let her keep sleeping. So I turned around. Mu Yue was still in the car, snoring away. Fulfilling Wen Yimo's parents' wish wasn't hard. With my abilities, I could certainly do it without anyone knowing, and give those people a harsh lesson. But that didn't met what they really wanted. So for now, I still need to expose the truth first. Thinking about what Wen Yimo went through, even I couldn't help but sigh. If this matter doesn't end well, who would dare to do good deeds in the future? The world is really going downhill. Society is developing rapidly, but human nature hasn't improved with the economy. Instead, it's become more selfish. Maybe it's this materialistic society that has brought out the ugly side of human nature. I remembered when I was as old as these kids. I was already a man who could stand on his own. I could start a family and support a household. My expression froze. My face flickered with confusion. A trace of confusion flashed across my face. How long has it been since I thought about the past? It's been so long. I've already forgotten. I wasn't always the prince. I vaguely remember that before becoming the prince, I was also an ordinary person in the mortal world. I entered the city of the dead after I died. It's been too long. I've already forgotten how I became the prince of the city of the dead. My thoughts flashed by. My figure gradually disappeared. Passers-by on the street didn't bat an eye. Everyone was in a hurry. No one noticed that the young boy had suddenly vanished into thin air. I thought I'd finish things quickly, but I didn't expect it to drag on until very late. Busy as I was, I even forgot about Muyue. After finishing, I just went straight home. As soon as I entered, I sensed the tense atmosphere in the living room. It was very quiet. Before I could speak, Pei Shuero hugged me. Her voice was full of worry. You're finally back. You scared Mom to death. Mom thought something had happened to you. Mu father also looked very anxious. He visibly relaxed when he saw me. He kept saying, you're back. That's good. That's good. It really scared him. He thought his son had run away on his own. I blinked, slowly realizing something. I was about to explain. Mu Yue, who had been scolded all night and worried all day, shouted at me angrily. Mu Chen, are you crazy? Where were you going? Can't you say something? Do you know we thought something happened to you? Do you know we looked for you all day? I shrank back from her shouting. I was indeed a bit guilty. Shut up. Pei Shuero hugged me and glared back at her fourth daughter. You must have upset Xiao Chen. That's why he left without a word. You're always picking on Xiao Chen. How many times have I told you? Xiao Chen is your real brother. Your real brother. Mu Yue was so angry at her mother's unreasonable words. She felt like she was about to explode. Mom, can you be reasonable? I didn't do anything today. Mu Yue shouted loudly. Seeing they were about to argue, I quickly intervened. Mom, don't be angry. Let me explain. Today's matter really isn't fourth sister's fault. She really didn't do anything. She didn't even argue with me. Then why did you leave her behind and go off on your own? You haven't been here long. You're not familiar with this city yet. Without someone with you, it's easy to get lost. The main thing is, Xiao Chen doesn't know how to use his phone well. He doesn't even know how to use navigation. I answered honestly. I went to handle some business. I told fourth sister to wait in the car. When I came back, I saw she was asleep. I thought she might have woken up too early and hadn't slept enough. So I thought I'd let her sleep a bit longer. That explanation is worse than not saying it. Did she do it on purpose? I didn't take her fierce glare to heart at all. I continued honestly. Then I left. I thought I'd be back soon. Maybe she wouldn't even be awake yet. But I didn't expect it to take longer than planned, and it dragged on until now. I didn't really want Mu Yue to get scolded. I didn't expect things to turn out this way either. Then why didn't you answer the phone? Mu Yue continued to question. I reached into my cloth bag and rummaged around, pulled out a phone and looked at it left and right, with a confused expression. I didn't hear the phone ring. This phone was something Pei Shuero got for me. She had reminded me about it before I left today, but I really didn't hear anything. Mu Yue snatched the phone from me. She lit up the screen and laughed in frustration. She held the phone up to my face. Can't you even look at it? Your phone is set to silent. I glanced at the phone and blinked innocently. I really don't know how to use it. I've never used a phone before. How was I supposed to know it could be set to silent? Mu Yue was about to continue her attack. Pei Shuero curled her fingers and hit her hard. She winced and held her forehead, crying out in pain. If you hadn't fallen asleep in the car, would she have been considerate enough to go do things on her own without waking you? So, in the end, it's all your fault. I asked you to help, but you slept so soundly in the car. Your allowance for this month is cut. Pei Shuero directly announced the punishment. Cut my allowance? This month has only been 3 days. After saying that, Pei Shuero looked at the other children and warned them. Anyone who dares to secretly give her money will have their allowance cut next month. As for Mu Wanting, she glanced sideways at her eldest daughter. If you dare to give Yue money, I'll arrange a blind date for you immediately. Mu Wanting's expression changed. She quickly replied seriously. Mom, don't worry, I won't. I'll also keep an eye on the others, and not let them help fourth sister. Mu Yue wailed. Mu Wanting looked at her helplessly, and with pity, she glanced at her. Fourth sister, don't blame your big sister for being heartless. It's better to sacrifice a friend than yourself. Fourth sister, where did you and Xiao Qing go today? Downstairs. Mu Xian didn't dare to go against Pei Shuero. After everyone went back to their rooms, she sneaked out again. After comforting Mu Yue for a while, she asked, pretending to be curious. Mentioning me made Mu Yue furious. This real brother of hers was practically her nemesis. He was here to collect a debt. But facing Mu Xian, she still patiently explained everything. But where I went after that, and what I did, she didn't know. Mu Xian frowned upon hearing this. Not to mention Mu Yue. She didn't even know what that place was. People lie them. Usually only frequented high-end places. They would never go to such rundown areas, and wouldn't bother to learn about them. She furrowed her brow and thought for a moment. Couldn't figure it out, so she had to let it go. After returning to her room, for some reason, she couldn't stop thinking about it. Just then, Jiang Yan called and they chatted for a while. Remembering her friend's visit to the house, she couldn't help but mutter a few words to her friend. Unexpectedly, Jiang Yan exclaimed in surprise. Did she go to Wen Yimo's house? The name Wen Yimo hit her. Even Mu Xian was momentarily stunned. Her hand holding the phone tightened. What did she go to Wen Yimo's house for? She didn't know Wen Yimo. Jiang Yan gritted her teeth, having no choice. She had to tell her about what happened that day. Mu Xian gasped after hearing it. Her hands and feet felt weak. She didn't expect Jiang Yan to be there that day too. Yan, did you? Mu Xian felt her throat tighten. After asking this question, her heart was in her throat. Her mind began to race. If he was really involved in this, what should she do? Although he wasn't there that day. But now, those bullying incidents had been reported by her parents. If they investigated deeply. But soon, she calmed down again. She kept comforting herself in her mind. She hadn't bullied Wen Yimo. At most, Mu Xian quickly recalled what she had done. Whether there were any obvious flaws left, or any evidence that could be caught. Xian, are you listening to me? Jiang Yan had been talking for a while without getting a response. She called out strangely, and Mu Xian snapped back to reality. She steadied her emotions and said, I'm listening, Yan. About this matter, what are you planning to do? When Yimo's parents don't seem to want to let it go. If they, Jiang Yan quickly interrupted her. Nothing will happen. Whether it's the school or our parents. They don't want this to blow up. At most, they'll drag out a few people to apologize properly. Apologize to them and pay some compensation. And that'll be it. After all, it was those college students who did it. We didn't really do anything. Not to mention their parents. The school also cares about its reputation. Mu Xian frowned deeply. She felt that things weren't that simple. Jiang Yan wasn't worried about the mall's surveillance. She had already had it cleared. No one would find out. Her father had a good relationship with the mall owner. Clearing the surveillance was just a phone call away. Even without that connection, I believe no one would dare offend them. The Jiang family, right? Right now, I'm worried about what Mu Qian knows. That day, I bumped into her in the hallway, flustered. The way she looked at me. And that day, he invited me to your place. The things he said. He seemed to have made up his mind about something. That's why Jiang Yan has been so unsettled. Even when facing Mu Xian, Jiang Yan didn't dare say much. When Jiang Yan said that, Mu Xian couldn't help but recall what he said that day when he saw the news. The words I said to her. His handsome face instantly turned pale. I might have actually seen who did the bad thing. Even if I didn't see who it was clearly. I must have seen them bullying someone. If he tells anyone about this. Just thinking about the consequences. Mu Xian couldn't sit still. He forced himself to calm down. Mu Qian might have really seen something. That day, he even asked me if I was involved in Wen Yimo's incident, but he didn't seem to mention it to my parents. You need to find a way to tell the others quickly. Tell them to fend for themselves. Mu Xian's words made Jiang Yan even more panicked. She quickly ended the call with him, then immediately called her usual friends. Mu Xian clenched his teeth tightly. Thinking back to what happened before, he couldn't help but feel some regret. If Wen Yimo had just helped that poor guy, fine. You can help for a while, but not forever. Why did they have to keep going after him? At the time, he just thought the posture and look were too glaring, as if he was the righteous one, and they were the demons. So he said a few words to egg on his classmates. Originally, he just wanted to teach him a lesson, so he wouldn't meddle in other people's business anymore. But he really didn't expect things to escalate to this point. As he thought, he secretly blamed those people again, telling them to get a little revenge. But they went overboard and got addicted to it. They kept picking on Wen Yimo. Isn't it just bullying the weak? Now look, they've crushed the weak one. And Wen Yimo. If he hadn't said he recorded it and would expose them, he wouldn't have. At that moment, Mu Xian started thinking about my situation. He thought I might have seen what happened at the mall, but couldn't possibly know the whole shittery. I don't even know how to use a phone. What could I know? Nine thoughts, but reality is harsh. On the third day, the news was everywhere online. What made him even more panicked was that the surveillance footage, which had been deleted, was all exposed by someone. Even the old footage of them bullying and humiliating when Yimo was dug up. He came downstairs and saw me sitting on the sofa again, staring at the TV. And the news was about this exact incident. Seeing the familiar scenes on screen, he almost choked on his breath. His legs went weak. Mu Xian's heart was pounding with fear when Pei Shuero walked over, seeing him leaning pale-faced against the railing. Looking off, she quickly asked, "Xian, what's wrong? Why do you look so pale? Are you sick?" Her voice startled me. I turned to look and met Mu Xian's panicked gaze. Thinking of something, I gave a meaningful smile. "Mom is asking you something." Mu Xian's lips trembled. "Mom, I'm fine." Pei Shuero gave him a strange look. Then, seeing the news I was watching, she asked with concern, "Xiao Chen, you seem very interested in this news. Why is that?" I answered very bluntly. "You and Dad are planning to send me to that school, right? So I definitely need to learn more about the people and things related to this school." Pei Shuero shuddered. Only then did she suddenly think of a problem. Right, if students from this school did this, they even dare to bully people outside school. What about the students inside? Xiao Chen is going to a school like this? She didn't dare think about the possibilities. Ignoring that Mu father had just left, she immediately went to make a phone call. "No, you can't go to this school. And Shen, you need to transfer too. In a school like this, safety can't be guaranteed. How can you study? I'll find you a new school." Mu Xian was stunned. Why were they suddenly talking about changing schools? He had never thought about transferring. He was already familiar with his current school. He had friends and a social circle there. Suddenly changing, and they were halfway through their senior year. Changing schools now? Did they still want to go to college? Mu Xian wanted to say something, but he knew he probably couldn't convince his mother. So he turned his gaze to me, hoping I would speak up and persuade her. As for which school I went to, I really didn't care. So I didn't even glance at him. Mu Xian could only watch helplessly as his mother made the call. After the footage of Wen Yimo's incident was exposed, the response from all sides was swift. The school issued an apology immediately, promising to strengthen students' moral education. The milk tea shop owner also cried bitterly. Most of the involved students came forward to apologize, crying and sniffling in front of the camera, looking full of regret. Wen Yimo was grinding his teeth in my room, watching the people apologizing in the 6DO. They're not sincere at all. They don't think they did anything wrong. I nodded slightly. Yeah, most of them aren't truly admitting fault, let alone feeling any regret. If this hadn't been exposed, and people online hadn't reacted, fiercely demanding accountability and condemnation, the public outcry was too big. They and their parents wouldn't have apologized. They wouldn't have even cared. Regret? An ordinary person is dead. Dead and gone. Why talk about anything else? Others can't see, but I can. They say these words with a surface of sincere regret, but their eyes show indifference, even anger. Resentment? Of course, resentment towards those who forced them. How embarrassing this is for them. To them. Wen Yimo's life is less important than their face. Wen Yimo was filled with grief and anger in life, and deep confusion. He really didn't understand what he had done wrong. He was kind and righteous. Was that wrong? He was just trying to help, but instead, they ostracized him for no reason. Those people used their family influence to pressure him, destroying his peaceful life. That day at the mall, a fight broke out. He accidentally fell from the upper floor. Bang. Everything was over. Now they say they know they were wrong, begging everyone to give them a chance. But who will give him a chance? They didn't give him a chance back then. The more he thought, the more Wen Yimo's suppressed resentment threatened to break free. The room temperature dropped instantly. A chill wind blew, rattling things around. I looked up at the swaying chandelier. Quickly, I spoke to calm him down. "I'll let you go and vent your anger yourself." It was lie. A pause button was pressed. The commotion in the room stopped immediately. "Let me go vent myself?" "No, I can't get close to them." Wen Yimo frowned. Of course, he wanted to take revenge himself, but for some reason, he couldn't get close. He could only watch from afar. Once he got too close, he was blocked. Otherwise, he would have torn them apart long ago. "You can't do it." "But that doesn't mean I can't. They have a guilty conscience. It's not strange for ghosts to visit them at night," I said calmly. probably really feeling guilty. After when Yimo died, a few of them were indeed scared, so they started wearing protective charms, especially the one who caused his fall. Although they quickly brushed it off, they were still a bit uneasy deep down. They wore blessed jade pendants. When Yimo was gentle in life, he couldn't become a fierce ghost right after death, so it wasn't strange that he couldn't get close to those few. But these things are useless against me. When Yimo immediately perked up. Of course, that would be best. But remember one thing, you can't directly hurt anyone. Sometimes death isn't revenge, but an escape. If you take a life, you won't be able to reincarnate smoothly. I warned him very seriously. When Yimo was a kind person, he liked to help others in life, but unfortunately, he met with an accident. Without this accident, he would have had a good next life. But if he commits murder, then things would be completely different. There's no need to ruin your hep pie next life for these evil people. When Yimo bit his lip, a little unwilling, after a while, he nodded. Okay, I won't take their lives. I want them to lie in the shadows. I shot out a glowing talisman. It slowly landed on Yimo. Soon, it disappeared. When Yimo didn't react in time, he felt something infuse his soul, as if he was instantly filled with power. Go ahead. Haste makes waste. Take it slow. If you can't handle something, call me, and I'll come to save you. When Yimo looked at me with gratitude, his eyes were instantly teary. There are many bad people in this world. They bully the weak for no reason. But there are also many good people. Lie those who spoke up for him on lie. Lie me, a complete stranger, still willing to go all out to help him. Since I said he could go vent, when Yimo didn't want to stay a moment longer, he quickly disappeared from my room. From his fall to the exposure of the incident, it was only a few days. At first, that person was indeed panicked. After all, someone had died. But that panic quickly faded, turning into indifference. People born into power and wealth, from their upbringing in education, easily develop a wrong mindset, thinking they are superior. Ordinary people are naturally inferior. There's nothing money can't solve, and if money can't, power can. Jiang Yan wasn't the one who caused the fall, but that day at the mall, he also took part in ostracizing Wen Yimo. Jiang Yan had been having a rough time lately. He had just learned from Mu Xian that the news was out, and before he could do anything, things had already spiraled out of control. So he finally told his parents. Naturally, he got a severe scolding, but his heart settled down again. Although his parents scolded him, they would never abandon him. With the Jiang family's influence, getting him out of this mess would be a piece of cake. So Jiang Yan wasn't worried now. He even thought, at worst, he'd just transfer schools. There were plenty of good schools in Heir. He wasn't afraid of not having a school to go to. He sat on his bed, leaning against the headboard, focused on a show on his phone, laughing out loud from time to time, showing no sign of being affected by the incident. When Yimo floated into his room, this was the scene he saw. Rage shot straight to his head. See? These people have no remorse at all. They will never change. People of lower status than them, in their eyes, are worse than cats and dogs. When Yimo's anger and resentment were intense, the crystal chandelier in Jiang Yan's room immediately started swaying. It flickered a few times, making a few crackling sounds, as if the chandelier was broken. Jiang Yan was startled by the sudden noise. He looked up at the chandelier, muttering to himself, "What's going on? Is the light broken?" He stared at it for a while. When the chandelier returned to normal, he ignored it. But as soon as he focused back on his phone, the room lights started flickering again. He faintly heard the crackling of electricity. He still didn't think much of it. Pursing his lips, he got up to check the light switch. But when he tried, he broke out in a cold sweat. The switch was completely unresponsive. He didn't turn it off, but it turned off. The light, he didn't turn it on, but it turned on by itself, and he had clearly closed the window, but the room felt like wind was blowing in. He also felt a chill. Somehow, he suddenly thought of Wen Yimo. His face instantly changed color. He instinctively turned to open the door and leave, but no matter how hard he tried, the door, which was perfectly fine, wouldn't open. Open up. Open up. Someone. Help me. Someone. Jiang Yan couldn't suppress his inner fear. He screamed loudly. His screams were terrifying. And it was late at night. The others in the Jiang family villa felt their hearts race from the SOC. They rushed panicked towards his room. Jiang father pounded on the door from outside. Jiang Yan. What's wrong? Open the door. What are you doing in there? I can't open it. There's a ghost. Dad. Come save me. Jiang Yan cried out in a trembling voice, pounding on the door non-stop. The fear in his voice clearly transmitted through the door. It's just a person. Nonsense. Calm down. There are no ghosts in this world. Don't scare yourself. Is the lock stuck? Calm down and trek. Dad, have someone get the key. Jiang father said, exchanging a glance with Jiang mother. Both couldn't help but think of the recent events. Jiang father's expression darkened. He was both angry and heartbroken for his son. He's probably just guilty, so he's scaring himself. Luckily, the Jiang family lived in a standalone villa. The houses weren't too close together. Otherwise, with his screaming, the whole neighborhood would have heard. The servant quickly found the key, but no matter how they turned it, it wouldn't open. Jiang Yan's screams continued from inside the room, accompanied by a series of crashing sounds. The sound of lamps breaking. With one final loud crash, the door, which had been stuck, swung open. The Jiang family quickly pushed the door open and went in. The first thing they saw was a complete mess in the originally luxuriously decorated room. Decorations were knocked over. The bedside lampshade hung crookedly. The curtains were in disarray. The crystal chandelier had fallen from the ceiling. Shards were scattered everywhere. The carpet was also lifted at one corner. The whole Jiang family was stunned. Looking more closely, Jiang Yan was lying unconscious behind the door. Cold sweat was still beating on his forehead. Everyone scrambled to carry him away, then quickly called a doctor. After examining him, the doctor looked puzzled. Young Master Jiang seems to have suffered a great SOC. Did he experience something terrifying? The Jiang family's expressions turned grim. Jiang father forced a smile. To be honest, we're not really sure. The kid was in his room. We thought he was asleep. Then we heard his screams and went to trek and found him already unconscious. What could they say? That their son had a guilty conscience? That he scared himself, saying he saw a ghost? He might not care about face, but the Jiang family did. The doctor didn't think much of it. He's fine physically, but the wound on his forehead is quite serious. It will probably leave a scar. The Jiang family's expressions changed instantly. After the doctor left, Jiang Yan woke up quickly, but he was clearly terrified. Before he was fully conscious, he fell into a terrible nightmare. Don't come near me. It wasn't me. I didn't hurt you. I didn't push you down the stairs. Go away. Don't come for me. His eyes were still tightly shut, but his hands were flailing and struggling. His face was full of fear and terror. Jiang mother's expression changed when she heard his words. You're having a nightmare. Wake up, you're having a nightmare, wake up. She frantically patted his face, but there was no response. Finally, she steeled herself and slapped him. That finally woke him up. Jiang Yan opened his eyes. Seeing his mother, he burst into loud sobs. He immediately threw himself into her arms, clutching her clothes tightly, shaking all over. Mom, there's a ghost. I saw it. It was when Yimo. She came back to get me. She said I hurt her and I have to pay with my life. I said I didn't. She didn't believe me. She wanted to choke me. He had never known there were real ghosts in the world. He clearly saw what happened in the room. It couldn't be explained by common sense. And he really saw it. Wearing the same clothes from that day. It was really when Yimo's ghost. Jiang Yan, you're confused. There are no ghosts in the world. You're scaring yourself. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about that matter. Nothing will happen. Our family can handle it. No one can hurt you. Be good. Don't think too much. In a few days, this will all blow over. Jiang Mother's expression was very grim. His words made her feel a bit uneasy too, but she still held him steady and comforted him, probably feeling safe in his mother's arms. His emotions slowly calmed down. To convince him completely, Jiang Mother half persuaded, half forced him to go see. The room had been cleaned by the servants. It wasn't as messy as before. See? The chandelier just wasn't installed properly and fell. As for what you said, you didn't close the window properly, leaving a gap. Didn't you notice how windy it was today? The wind blew in and moved things around. And you call yourself a student? Jiang Mother said sternly. She reached out and tapped his forehead. Her face showed no cracks. Her expression was perfectly natural, so much so that Jiang Yan began to waver, wondering if he was overthinking and being paranoid. Don't scare yourself. Don't scare yourself. Tonight, you'll sleep in the guest room. Tomorrow, I'll have someone clean up the crystal. No more chandeliers. Too dangerous. Jiang Yan hesitated but was led to the guest room. Jiang Yan, what nonsense are you talking about? Did you watch a horror movie 6? Is that why you're having psychological suggestions and think there's a ghost? Mu Xian couldn't believe his friend called him over to say something so absurd. He saw Wen Yimo's ghost? How is that possible? In just one night, Jiang Yan's spirit had withered. He had become a bit paranoid. He looked around nervously, then lowered his voice, tense. No, Xian. It's true. I'm telling the truth. Last night, I really saw her ghost. She was in my room. She trashed my room. She said I hurt her and she's coming for me. Then I fell asleep and the blanket suddenly floated in midair. I saw it with my own eyes. Jiang Yan's eyes were terrified. Just talking about last night made his scalp tingle. Last night, his mother had convinced him. In the guest room, there was no movement for a long time, so he felt safe and fell asleep. But then he felt cold in his sleep. He was clearly covered with a thick down comforter and the temperature in Heir wasn't that low. Finally, he couldn't stand the cold and woke up. Opening his eyes, he saw the blanket covering him floating in midair. He let out a scream instinctively, but this time, no one came. His screams seemed to be blocked by something. No matter how much he screamed, no one came. He was so scared he hid under the bed, but it was completely useless. When Yimo's voice echoed in the room, as if coming from hell. He didn't know how he got through it. Jiang Yan had dark circles under his eyes. His eyes were filled with fear and extreme tension. Any slight noise could make him jump. Mu Xian frowned deeply. He thought his friend's words were impossible, but seeing his state, he didn't seem to be lying. For a moment, Mu Xian was unsure. Just as he was hesitating, Jiang Yan stared at him with a strange look in his eyes. He spoke softly. Mu Xian, when Yimo came to find me, if he won't let me go, he won't let you go either. Mu Xian's heart skipped a beat. He scolded and refuted him in a low voice. Jiang Yan, are you crazy? There are no ghosts in this world. Snap out of it. And besides, his accident had nothing to do with you, and even less to do with me. Jiang Yan's expression faltered upon hearing this. She muttered to herself, yeah, it wasn't me who caused her to fall. Why is he coming to me? He just came up with an idea that day. No one forced him to do it. If he's to blame, it's his own carelessness. He's dead, so why come scare him? Thinking this, Jiang Yan grew bold from fear. Her nervous eyes turned fierce, with a hint of ruthless determination. Fine, you want to scare me as a ghost? Then I'll hire someone to get rid of him. Make him vanish. Not even a ghost left. Once she had a plan. Jiang Yan couldn't sit still for a second. She threw out a sentence and hurried away. But Jiang Yan's hopes were too high. The Jiang family simply didn't believe her. They thought she had serious psychological issues. Jiang's mother could only keep comforting her, but never mentioned hiring someone for rituals. High society cares about feng shui and hires experts to arrange things, but that's just for wealth and luck. Ghosts and spirits are pure nonsense. Just as Jiang Yan grew more anxious, another terrifying thing happened. Completely shattered Jiang Yan's sanity. Even Mu Xian was scared into falling ill. The bully who led the group suddenly fell gravely ill. Rushed to the emergency room overnight. Though he was saved, his spirit completely collapsed. He cowered in his hospital bed all day, muttering neurotically, I was wrong. Those 3 words. His parents cried their hearts out, insisting someone killed their daughter, claiming it was Wen Yimo's parents. But checks showed it was impossible. Wen's parents lived far from their house. A straight drive took an hour, and they had alibis. They'd never been near that area. No signs of anyone entering the house. The alarm system was intact. Wen Yimo was just an ordinary worker, but her accidental death caused a huge stir, enough to be one of the hottest topics. Touching on the city's wealth gap issue, the topic's popularity soared. The wealthy parents involved tried to spend money. Every time they paid to remove the trend, it bounced back, ranking higher and exposing their info, scared them into giving up and playing dead. So even after a few days, people online kept discussing it. Now that the involved student died, the news spread immediately. Compared to sympathy for Wen Yimo, there was no goodwill for that student. After all, people's eyes are sharp. It was completely deserved. He indirectly caused her death. Now a life for a life. Why should an apology let him continue? So young and already so cold-blooded. Wen Yimo's spirit can rest in peace. Wen Yimo couldn't stop crying. I sat quietly watching her cry. I didn't comfort her. Alright, now your wish is fulfilled. It's time to leave. The one who caused your fall was scared to death. Wen Yimo didn't actually do anything. He was scared because he had a guilty conscience. An honest person naturally wouldn't be afraid. A guilty conscience sees ghosts everywhere. Wen Yimo staying in the human world too long is bad. He slowly stopped crying, lifted his face and looked at me quietly. With a pleading look, he asked softly if he could see his parents. I looked at him firmly and refused. No need. Your parents have already gotten through it. Seeing them would just reopen the wound, making them bleed all over again. Wen Yimo was stunned, lowered his eyes, realizing that was true. But I can let you send a dream. Go say goodbye to your parents in their dream. Wen Yimo was het pie and very grateful. Thank you, I said bluntly. We just help each other. Wen Yimo knew I helped him for payment. Lie, I said. We help each other. I helped him punish the evil, resolve his huge resentment. His parents didn't have to face the powerful alone, risking revenge at any time. He could leave peacefully. Wen's house. Wen's mother slept deeply that night. It was the first time since their daughter's accident. They slept so peacefully. In their dream, they saw their daughter, still as obedient as before. With a bright smile, she said she was leaving, told them to take care of themselves. Finally, she mentioned a high person helped her. The couple somehow thought of the boy who claimed to be their daughter's friend. They eagerly asked their daughter, but she said nothing, just smiled and said goodbye reluctantly, then disappeared into the dream. In their sleep, tears slid down the couple's cheeks, knowing their daughter was truly gone this time. Maybe there really is a beautiful afterlife. Their daughter would surely have a good one. She would grow up safely, making up for all the regrets of this life, though their daughter didn't admit it. They felt the high person mentioned was the little boy who came to their house that day, so he was no ordinary person. The couple woke up thinking how to thank me, but I appeared at their house again. Seeing me, they immediately knelt, thanking me for helping their daughter fulfill her wish. I reached out to stop them. Do you remember what I said? I help you for payment. Now is the time to collect. Are you willing to give it? Debt, we are. Anything we have, we'll give, the couple said with utmost sincerity. I saw kindness in their eyes, smiled slightly and nodded. Good. Now close your eyes. Silently think of the greatest payment you can give me. The couple exchanged a glance, without any questions or hesitation, slowly closed their eyes, with utmost devotion in their hearts. After a moment, I saw a pure golden light rise from their heads, revealed a satisfied smile. This was the light of their accumulated merit. The purer it is, the more genuine the gratitude. What they're willing to give must be the greatest. This is the final payment I want. I took out an exquisite lucky pouch, waved my little hand lightly. 2 streaks of golden light flew into the pouch and tied it. I said lightly, done. I've received the payment you gave. You are both kind, good people. Because of your kind hearts and good deeds. When Yimo met me, the couple was stunned. Wen's mother couldn't help blurting out, if that's the case, then why did our daughter still? I looked at her quietly. When Yimo was destined to have this calamity, though he died young in this life, because of your good deeds, he can not only reincarnate smoothly, but his next life will be better. He will grow up safely as you wish, marry, have children, and lie a het pie, full life. Is this true? Wen's mother's eyes lit up slightly. Of course, I never lie. That's good, that's good. Wen's mother couldn't help sobbing. Before leaving, I wanted to say something, but I swallowed the words, feeling it was unnecessary. Wen's parents have been doing good deeds for a long time. They lost a beloved child, but in the end, they will gain a child. When Yimo's departure is painful, but it also means a new beginning. I got home and saw Dr. Song. Seeing the doctor, I raised an eyebrow. Mu Xian was sick, bedridden. Several doctors had come, with no improvement. The Mu family was frantic. Of course, that didn't include me. Pei Shuero, frowning deeply, came downstairs. Seeing me, her frown eased a bit. Xiao Chen, you're back. Did you finish what you needed to do? If anything's wrong, be sure to tell Mom. Don't keep it to yourself. Mom, I've finished my business. It went smoothly, so it's fine. Pei Shuero nodded gently, her eyes filled with deep worry. Now Xiao Chen is sick. Xiao Chen can't have anything happen. I don't know what's wrong with Xiao Xian. He suddenly got sick for no reason. Hospital tests showed nothing. We've changed doctors, taken medicine, had injections, but there's no improvement. It's so worrying. Mom, what did the doctor say? Seeing me take the initiative to care about Mu Xian, Pei Shuero seemed a bit het pie, thinking I was cold on the outside but warm-hearted, caring for my brother. Same as before, saying he's pent up with worry. But how is that possible? Xiao Xian is a child. What could he be worried about? Enough to make him this sick? I think these doctors are all incompetent. If Xiao Xian had just found out about his background, then I'd believe it. But it's been over a month. He was fine before. Suddenly falling ill is clearly not the reason. But when I ask Xiao Shen, he can't explain. I smiled meaningfully. Maybe the doctor is right. He might have some heart trouble. After all, isn't there a saying, heart trouble needs heart medicine? Pei Shuero was stunned. Heart trouble? But where would Xiao Xian get heart trouble? I smiled innocently. Then you'd have to ask him what he's done. Pei Shuero looked at her son suspiciously. Xiao Chen, do you know something? I didn't really want to bother with Mu Xian. How he is has nothing to do with me. But him being sick at home threw the whole house into chaos. Mom and Dad were worried sick. Look at Mom's well-maintained eyes. They've gotten fine lines from worry. I paused and spoke softly. Mom, have you seen the news online about what happened at the mall? Pei Shuero certainly remembered. She'd been following the progress. After all, it was a big deal. But isn't it over? That girl fell accidentally. The mall footage was released after the bully was scared to death. Public opinion was in an uproar. I know the child's parents, but we're not close. I never expected it to be like this. Now even the company is affected. I heard they're planning to move away. She sighed after understanding. But what does this have to do with Xiao Xian? I said casually. Jiang Yan is in a worse state than Mu Xian. She keeps shouting she sees the female employee's ghost. Jiang Yan was at the mall that day too. She was just lucky to be in the back, not caught much on camera. So when that student died, he was scared half to death himself. Pei Shuero's heart jolted. Understanding, she widened her eyes in SOC, her face full of disbelief. I didn't directly say Mu Xian was involved, but Pei Shuero could judge for herself. Jiang Yan and Mu Xian were best friends. Same school, same class. What bad things Jiang Yan did, could Mu Xian really not know? How is that possible? Pei Shuero clearly understood this, so her face turned grim. I hinted and stopped. That evening, after Mu father got off work, Pei Shuero told him about it. He was also shocked. In his long-held impression, Xiao Shen was always obedient and sensible. How could he do such a thing? But thinking of his recent strange behavior, Mu father's heart sank. They went to Mu Xian's room. Seeing them come in, Mu Xian forced himself to sit up in bed. Mom, Dad, why are you here? Is something wrong? Mu Xian looked terrible. His face was unnaturally pale. His eyes bloodshot. Tired, he had to force himself. He didn't look like he'd been sick for a few days. More like he'd been sick for a long time. Mu father sat down, looking very serious, staring at him sternly. Xiao Shen, we have something to ask you. You need to answer honestly. Mu Xian's heart skipped a beat. He instinctively looked at Pei Shuero. Seeing her equally serious expression, he was a bit confused and flustered, but still nodded slightly. Oh, cool. Did you participate in that incident? She asked directly, catching Mu Xian off guard. Because of the suddenness, Mu Xian's expression couldn't be hidden. They saw it clearly. The look on his face said it all. Deep disappointment filled their eyes. In front of them, he was obedient and kind, but their son was like this in private. This was so disappointing. They didn't remember teaching him this. Pei Shuero was especially disappointed and heartbroken. She thought she never slacked in education, always caring and asking about every aspect of life, using situations to teach, instilling correct values and morals, unlike many wealthy families who left it all to tutors. But why did Xiao Xian do this? Why did he have to ostracize a classmate and not admit fault when caught, leading to the accident? Mu Xian met their disappointed gazes, knew the secret was completely out. The fear, worry, and anxiety that had been weighing on him suddenly burst out. He burst into loud sobs, soon crying uncontrollably, crying and defending himself. Mom, Dad, I let you down. I know I was wrong. I really do. I didn't think it would turn out like this. I didn't do anything to miss one. I didn't know she would. You say you didn't know? Mu father was so angry he didn't know what to say. You don't know if a bad thing should be done? Are you a clueless 3-year-old? You're 17 years old. Over a decade of schooling. Don't you have basic morals? Why did you do it? Your obedience and understanding in front of us. Was it all fake? Why did you have to ostracize someone? Mu Xian bit his lip, his eyes flickering with hesitation, afraid to speak his mind. He knew that jealousy was wrong, but he couldn't control it. He had always been excellent, the most dazzling person in the crowd, the moon surrounded by stars. But that classmate stole his spotlight, took his top spot. You still won't tell the truth? Pei Shuero shouted angrily. Mu Xian trembled uncontrollably. His pale lips quivered with shame. He spoke the reason, his voice getting lower and lower. Pei Shuero wished she could faint. Listen to what you're saying. Just because someone was better than you got jealous. So you instigated your friend to ostracize them. When caught, you didn't correct your mistake. You even threatened them with your family background. You were jealous of their grades. Why didn't you work hard to surpass them, instead of using these crooked methods to harm people? He was shocked, incredulous. Looking at Mu Xian, he felt this son was a stranger. Had he not understood his son enough, or had he never understood him at all? He began to deeply doubt himself. Pei Shuero's gaze scared Mu Xian. He threw himself into her arms, clutching her waist tightly, crying loudly, Mom, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to. I didn't know it would turn out like this. At first, I just wanted to see him embarrassed. I didn't want to hurt anyone. Really. Later, what they did, I didn't. I really didn't participate. I didn't know about the mall incident that day. Jiang Yan never told me. He only told me when it blew up. That's when I found out. If I had been there, I would have stopped it. I didn't want to hurt anyone. Dad, I really know I was wrong. I never thought it would come to this. I'll never do it again. I won't be jealous anymore. I'll work hard to be better. Mom, Dad, believe me. Mu Xian's tone was urgent, pleading. He wasn't the Mu family's biological child. He was just an adopted son now. He couldn't let his parents be completely disappointed. If they were disappointed in him, would they abandon him and cruelly send him away? Where would he go then? Mu Xian was already terrified. The involved student's strange fate. The culprit who caused the fall was scared to death. Nerves were stretched to the breaking point. His psychological limit was reached. Now that Mu's parents knew, thoughts of being kicked out flashed through his mind. Regret, fear, terror, unease, despair, all flooded his heart. He hadn't rested well for days, so in his panic, he couldn't catch his breath and fainted. The Mu family was in chaos again. Everyone went to Mu Xian's room, except me. I didn't show up. Mu Yue muttered a few complaints. Pei Shuero overheard. She was already furious about this. Hearing her second daughter target her eldest son for Mu Xian, she immediately flew into a rage, scolded harshly. What do you have against Xiao Chen all day? He's your own brother, not your enemy. And is Xiao Chen a doctor? Does it matter if he comes or not? Pei Shuero was usually a lenient mother. She often pretended to discipline her children, but it was all just a bluff. She rarely scolded them like this. So Mu Yue was stunned. Mu Wanting and the twins had just returned. They exchanged glances. All had the same question. Had something happened at home they didn't know about? The Mu sisters sensed the unusual atmosphere. They had only suspected something was wrong. Now they were sure. The only one unaffected was me. I just did my own thing. Spent all day watching TV. They had planned to hire a tutor for me, but that was put on hold. Others had heavy homework. But I, besides watching TV, only eating could get me off the couch. Xiao Chen, you're home all day. Did something happen at home? Big sister was busy at the company. Sometimes she missed things at home. If something happened, you should tell big sister. Mu Wanting rarely had a day off, but she still spent half the day in the study, then came downstairs. Seeing me watch TV, she paused and sat down next to me. I didn't even move my gaze. Nothing's wrong at home. It's fine. Are you sure? Mom and Dad seem troubled these days. Is it because of your schooling? I didn't say, so she had to probe. I'd been back with the Mu family for over a month, but Mu Wanting still felt her brother was a stranger. Hearing this, I spared her a glance, but the look was a bit off. Why do you say it's because of me? You assume something's wrong at home means it's about me? That's not what I meant. I know you're very well behaved. No, I'm not well behaved. Mu Wanting felt exhausted. If you want to know, ask Mom and Dad. I don't want people saying I badmouth anyone later, or drove a wedge between you. I turned my attention back to the TV. Mu Wanting raised an eyebrow. That sounds strange. Could it be Xiao Xian? She thought of the past 2 nights. Mu Wanting couldn't help frowning. Before he could find a chance to ask, it was already New Year's. The atmosphere in the Mu family had finally eased up. Mu Xian, who had been sick for a few days, recovered, but he had become much quieter overall. This was my first New Year back with the Mu family. Mu father and Pei Shuero took it very seriously. They had people start preparations early. The house was carefully decorated, and the New Year's Eve dinner dishes all had a lot of thought put into them. Everything revolved around me. As for the rest of the family, they've had so many New Years already. What's wrong with letting Xiao Chen have this one? Isn't that only right? When New Year's Eve arrived, the house was lively. The previous gloom seemed gone. Mu father and Pei Shuero's attitude toward Mu Xian hadn't changed. After they talked that one time, they never brought it up again. It was my first time celebrating the New Year in the human world. I found everything novel, and I became very happy. Not only did I smile more, but my temper also seemed much better. I didn't even bother Mu Yue, making Pei Shuero and Mu father overjoyed. After the New Year, the family prepared to return to the capital. The Mu family's roots are in the capital. Mu grandmother also lives in the capital. Mu father, as the elder son, He should take the children to pay New Year's visits. Otherwise, people would gossip. Usually, each family celebrates New Year's Eve separately, unless there's a special reason to gather in the capital for a reunion dinner. And since I just came back, he should take me to the capital to meet everyone. Besides the 3 siblings, there are other collateral relatives. They still keep in touch now. On the second day of the new year, the family packed up and left. They took their private jet back to the capital. It was my first time on a plane, and I was curious. On the plane, I pressed my face against the window, staring intently outside. Pei Shuero found it amusing. Mu Yue opened her mouth to tease me. Pei Shuero shot her a look. She immediately shut up wisely. When we arrived in the capital, the Mu family sent someone to pick us up. We drove straight to the old mansion in the capital. Before leaving, Pei Shuero explained to me the complicated relationships here. I just nodded slightly, without saying any nonsense. When we reached the gate of the Mu family's old mansion, I habitually looked around the surroundings. The Mu family has stood in the capital for 100 years. The ancestral home has been renovated over time, gradually becoming what it is now. It's not a European-style villa that the rich prefer, but a traditional Chinese style. A square, large courtyard house. You can find traces of deep history. Generations of the Mu family have maintained it well. I heard that a master was hired for the site selection and construction. The head of the family left a will before passing away, forbidding descendants from changing the ancestral home's address, from easily moving the foundation or selling it. Renovations could only be done on the existing foundation. Violating it meant losing inheritance rights. Because of this rule, the ancestral home hasn't changed much, strictly speaking. Only the upper structures changed. I could see that the ancestral home truly blesses descendants. The accumulated fortune over so many years. A faint purple aura was visible above the house, but it also showed signs of decline. It seemed the home's protective effect was fading. It looked like no one had touched the ancestral home, so the problem must be with the descendants. I curled the corner of my mouth. This is interesting. Happy New Year. The first greeting after entering the house. Happy New Year. Today, not just Mu father's family came. The married eldest sister also brought her family. Oh, this must be Xiao Chen. I'm so last time, something came up, so I couldn't go to Heir. Don't blame your aunt. Mu Xiaoxian immediately noticed me standing next to Pei Shuero. A new face could only be the son the third brother found. Hello, aunt. I'm Mu Chen. I put on a well-behaved act. Mu Xiaoxian smiled at me. Her eyes discreetly sized me up. You look just like your parents. I'm their son. Of course I look like them. Mu Xiaoxian's smile seemed to pause. She said casually, that's true. This is a cousin from the mountain temple. He looks so rustic. Nothing like the Mu family's young master. A boy about the same age jumped right next to Mu Xiaoxian. His gaze fixed directly on me. His scanning was extremely rude. His tone was filled with undisguised contempt. Pei Shuero's face immediately darkened. Mu Xiaoxian quickly pulled her son, gave a light, ineffective scolding. How are you talking? I used an even more picky and disdainful look to scan her up and down carefully. You grew up with your parents in luxury, but looking at your manners, it seems I'm better off than Mu Xiaoxian. The mother and son's faces changed. Meng Xijia's face turned red with anger. He never expected me to be so unconventional. Most people would just hold it in. How dare she talk back in public? Pei Shuero was overjoyed inside, but on the surface, she imitated Mu Xiaoxian's earlier act. Child, how are you talking? I covered my face and replied calmly. I'm copying him. I thought all young masters in the capital were like that. Mu Yue was struggling to hold back her laughter. Before, she was the one I kept roasting. Today, it's finally someone else's turn. Watching me not say a word to him. Why was she so pie? This cousin was close with Xian, but she really didn't lie Xiao Xian. He was also a young master of the Mu family. Pampered and spoiled, but not as unreasonable as him. And he was especially selfish, acting like the whole world revolved around him. At gatherings when they were kids, Meng Xijie didn't dare go too far. But with others, it was different. They were all forced to be her toys. She had to have her way in everything. If not, she'd throw a tantrum. When she caused trouble, she'd blame the sisters, making them take the fall many times. As she grew up, she learned to play the victim. They were so annoyed by her. Now, finally, someone can handle her. Pei Shuero glared at her second daughter, signaling her to tone it down. Then turned to Mu Xiaoxian with an apologetic face. So big sister. Xiao Chen is good in every way, but too straightforward. Don't take it to heart. After saying that, she turned to remind me. Of course, young masters in the capital have good manners. Your cousin was just joking earlier. You can't be petty and take it seriously. Mu Xiaoxian was fuming inside. What? So her son being petty was the problem? Meng Xijie experienced this for the first time, stomped her foot and ran off in displeasure. When no one was looking, Mu Yue quietly praised me for doing well. Can't spoil him. I glanced at her lightly. I'm not his parent. Of course, I won't spoil him. That makes so much sense. Why didn't she think that way when she was bullied? Besides the eldest aunt's family I hadn't met. I met the rest of the Mu family. Qingyan and a few cousins had little contact, just introductions to get to know each other. Lu Manqi and Mu Mingyuan had 3 sons. The second and youngest were close in age to Huey. The oldest son was already married. He married a wealthy heiress from the capital. Mu Xiaoxian and Xia Fusheng had only 1 son. That was Meng Xijie. Everyone gathered together. There were quite a lot of people. It was very lively. Mu grandmother's smile never faded. Xiao Xian, why have you lost so much weight? Mu grandmother pulled Mu Xian to her side, frowned slightly. Mu Xian touched his face, about to deny it. Mu grandmother turned to Pei Shuero and scolded her displeasedly, even though Xiao Xian's background was wrong. He's been raised in the Mu family for so many years. You can't mistreat him because of blood ties. Pei Shuero's face turned ugly. What do you mean they mistreated Xiao Xian? When did they ever mistreat him? Mu Xian saw Pei Shuero's expression change and quickly explained. Grandma, no. Mom and Dad are very good to me. I just had a cold and fever a few days ago. Got sick in winter without paying attention. Mom and Dad are very good to me. Grandma, please don't misunderstand. If Mu Xian had been lied before, he would have said these words in a playful tone. Mu grandmother might have believed him, but because of Wen Yimo's incident, he had a huge knot in his heart, feeling that his parents must be disappointed in him. So he became cautious and hurried to explain. It was supposed to be a good thing, but to others, it looked different. The more he explained, the worse it got. Mu grandmother held Mu Xian's hand. Xiao Shen, don't overthink it. You're still a young master of the Mu family. I'm putting this out there. If anyone dares to bully you, you call Grandma. Grandma will stand up for you. As she said that, she glanced meaningfully at me. I noticed it, but I wasn't moved at all. I wasn't surprised. Although Mu Xian isn't a Mu child by blood, he's been raised for over a decade. So many years of feelings aren't fake. The emotional investment was reciprocated. It can't be taken back overnight. Blood ties are important, but accumulated feelings are also important. I still say the same thing. As long as Mu Xian doesn't provoke me, I have no interest in causing trouble. As for pointless jealousy, what's that? What are you talking about? Who's bullying Xiao Xian? Xiao Xian was indeed sick earlier. It took a few days to recover, and he hasn't bounced back yet. Mu father wasn't happy with his mother's words. Honestly, if they were going to mistreat Xiao Xian, then why keep him around? To make trouble for themselves? Mu Xian begged, looked at Mu grandmother. Mom and dad are really good to me. Don't blame them. He should be grateful to stay. After all, he's not the real young master. Alright, don't rush. Your grandma just cares about you too much. Your grandma talks about you all the time. If it weren't for school starting soon, she'd want you to stay longer. Lu Manqi saw the atmosphere about to be ruined. Quickly stepped in to ease the awkwardness. Mu grandmother didn't press further. She patted Mu Xian's head, her eyes full of affection. Next year, you'll take the college entrance exam, apply to the capital university, and stay at the Mu family's place. Mu Xian instinctively looked at Pei Shuero, as if seeking her opinion. Pei Shuero frowned slightly. About the college application. Hadn't the family discussed it long ago? It's all up to Xiao Xian's preference. Instead, she went along with the old lady. Your grandma is right. Apply to the capital university for convenience. Mu Xian was het pie for a moment. Then doubt crept into his heart. Is mom really disappointed? Does she not lie me anymore? Telling me to apply to the capital university so I can stay far from home, so I don't have to be around often. His mood immediately dropped, but he didn't dare show it. He could only force a smile. Luckily, he lowered his head. Otherwise, who knows what everyone would think. Mu father's family stayed in the capital for 2 days. Pei Shuero wanted to take me around, since I'd never been to the capital. There's lots of fun and good food in the capital. The most common thing during New Year is going to temples. Most people in the capital do that, and there are grand temple fairs. It's very lively. On the 3rd day, Mu Mingyuan also got interested. Said it's rare to be together, so let's all go together. More people, more fun. So the whole family set off in 2 vans. Meng Xijie was thinking about something and joined in the fun. Pulled Mu Xian to ride in the uncle's car, chasing away Mu Mingyuan's youngest son. Mu Ruxue was a bit simple, not good at sweet talk. You could tell she was an honest girl. She got along well with Mu Yue since childhood. Seeing them chat happily, my look was meaningful. One look, and it's true, birds of a feather flock together. Mu Yue herself is a simpleton. Gets along with the equally simple Ruxue. Mu Yue noticed me, gave me a puzzled look. What does she want now? Don't let her get scolded again during the new year. I quickly looked away. The group went to the most famous temple in the capital. This temple has over 300 years of history. Though it went through dynastic changes and wars, it was lucky to survive, and it's very well preserved. The main hall's Buddha statue has sat for over 300 years, watching the world's prosperity with compassionate eyes. I stepped into the main hall without any burden, knelt on the cushion with the others, closed my eyes and muttered to myself, hope I quickly gain enough merit to return to the city of the dead and reopen the gate of reincarnation. After muttering for a while, I opened my eyes, met the compassionate eyes of the Buddha statue. I paused. Why does the Buddha's gaze seem off? Wondered if I was just paranoid. So I thought the statue looked wrong. I stared at the statue without blinking, trying to confirm if it was my problem. Xiao Chen, don't stare at the Buddha like that. The Buddha will be offended. Pei Shuero finished praying, found her son kneeling straight, but his eyes were too bold, staring directly at the Buddha statue ahead. I looked away. Mom, don't you think its gaze is strange? Pei Shuero glanced casually, and quickly looked away, said with a playful smile, Child, what are you thinking? Isn't this Buddha statue always like this? What's strange about it? This Buddha statue in the main hall has been here for over 300 years. It was sculpted when the temple was built, never changed. How could there be anything strange? Thinking her son grew up in a Taoist temple, Pei Shuero comforted him gently. Although there are many temples now, there are also Taoist temples. I'll take you to one sometime. If I weren't the prince of the city of the dead, I'd be scared by that suggestion. I'm not a ghost, but I'm still from the underworld, and Buddhas and immortals are naturally not on the same path. Better to avoid places like this in the future. After all, we're not on the same side. Before getting up, I couldn't help but look again. Still felt the gaze was off. At first glance, it seemed very compassionate, but on second look, it seemed sinister. Felt lie it wasn't proper. It was lie after leaving the hall. I put aside my doubts. Maybe I was just overthinking. This temple's Buddha statue has been around for over 300 years, received so much incense. If there were a problem, it would have been purified. Pei Shuero had been to this temple a few times. The scenery is quite nigh. It snowed heavily in the capital before New Year. The temperatures have been low these days. The snow hasn't melted. Perfect for going up the mountain to see the snow view. I was very interested. I've never seen snow. Probably never seen it. I don't remember how long I was in the city of the dead. Before that, I probably hadn't seen it either. Otherwise, I'd have some memory. Pei Shuero watched me walk ahead, almost skipping. Unlike my usual mature and steady self at home, at this moment, I was Lai, a little boy, watching her lively son. She smiled with motherly affection, her eyes full of lop, but she still felt some regret for missing her son's growth. The Mu sisters found it novel, thinking this younger brother was a bit old-fashioned. Turns out he's really just a kid. As for why he was more mature than adults, no need to think too much. Mu Yue felt a surge of sibling affection, decided to be more lenient with him from now on. After all, she's the 4th sister. As they walked, Mu Yue got playful, bent down and grabbed a handful of snow, formed it into a snowball, threw it at me ahead. The snow hit me squarely. I stopped, pouted, and turned around. The 3 Mu sisters all pointed at her, claiming innocence. I squinted at Mu Yue. You're brave, daring to hit me with snow. Mu Yue saw me and provocatively shook the snow. I stared at her, then suddenly smiled, revealing white teeth. I was wearing a white knit hat, with 2 fluffy pom-poms hanging down. The brim had a cute trim. When I smiled like that, my little face looked chubby, like a grinning little kitten. The 4 sisters felt a jolt in their hearts, a tingling sensation. Had the urge to pinch my cheeks. So the little brother is this cute? Compared to his usual maturity, this is probably the charm of contrast. I didn't ruin my image. From then on, I left a deep impression of cute contrast on the 4 sisters. Mu Yue was also stunned and scratched her head. Felt she was even cuter than Xiao Xian. As she thought that, a white blob flew toward her face. She reacted quickly and dodged, but didn't avoid it. The snow hit her face. She was stunned, thinking she could dodge it. I put my hands on my hips and smirked triumphantly. You hit me? Dream on. Pei Shuero clenched her fist and cheered for her son. Xiao Chen, good hit, great hit. Your 4th sister deserves it. Give it to her good. As long as you don't kill her, it's fine. Mom, am I still your daughter? Mu Yue screamed in frustration. Pei Shuero glanced at her disdainfully. I wish you weren't my daughter. Too bad you look too much like me. Probably wasn't swapped. Mu Yue felt a hole stabbed in her heart. Aren't you afraid your brother will hurt me? She asked stubbornly. Pei Shuero waved her hand. That just proves you're useless. What's a few snowballs? Can they really hurt you? If they do, it just proves you're too weak. People will laugh at you later. As she spoke, I made another snowball and threw it at her. I've wanted to deal with Mu Yue for a while. All grown up but no brains. Easily swayed by others' words. Who knows what she'll be used for. I usually can't be bothered with her. Today, she came to me. I won't hold back. I'll teach her a lesson first. So Mu Yue and I started the snowball fight. At first, she thought she was bigger. How could she lose to a little boy in a snowball fight? Thought she could get some revenge. But who knew reality was harsh. She was completely outplayed. In the end, she was running around with her head covered. Her 3 heartless sisters. Just watch the fun. No one helped her. A family of 8. She must be the adopted one. What are you doing? Mu Yue and I stopped playing. Mu Yue secretly sighed in relief. Too embarrassing. Losing a snowball fight to her little brother. It was Mu Xian and Meng Xijie. Everyone came together. After praying, they split up. Meng Xijie insisted on dragging Mu Xian. Mu Xian went along with him. Now they ran into us. Seeing Mu Yue in a mess. Her night clothes dirty. Her hair like a bird's nest, full of snow. Looking at me, clean and tidy. Mu Xian was a bit displeased. Xiaoqin, how could you hit 4th sister like that? Mu Yue knew this was bad. Quickly tried to explain before I spoke, but I didn't give her time. If you hadn't called out, I could have hit even harder. Besides, he hit me first. He only hit me once, and then what? I hit him like a pig. Mu Xian choked up, opened his mouth and stammered. Then you shouldn't have hit him like that. Mu Yue quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Xiaoxian, I'm fine. We were just having a snowball fight. It doesn't hurt at all. Just look at the dirty clothes. Don't let Mu Xian ruin the fun. I tossed the snowball aside, dusted off my hands and snorted. Walked over to Pei Shuero. Mom, let's keep going. Pei Shuero smiled and nodded. Then looked at Mu Xian and Meng Xijie. Since we ran into each other, let's go together. With so many people during New Year, it's easy for trouble. Though he worried about them causing trouble, his gaze fell on Mu Xian. I helped the master with a favor. He promised me one thing. I never thought to cash in that promise before, but now he has no choice. He has to save his eldest grandson. Pei Shuero's group wandered around the temple. They left smoothly enough. The couple's hearts settled back down. They stayed in the capital for 2 days, then set off for Heir. Mu father handled my school enrollment. The couple thought it over. Decided to send me to Mu Xian's school. Their relationship was pretty average. Anyway, being in the same school and class could provide some support. When the couple thought of this, they had no confidence at all with Xiao Chen's personality. Expecting him to look after Mu Xian was impossible. But in the end, they decided anyway. Holding on to a bit of hope. Maybe things weren't as bad as they thought. I've been taking extra lessons all winter break. The Mu sisters tutored me, and they hired teachers to come to the house. At first, no one knew what I knew, what I had actually learned before, but they quickly figured it out. Even though I never had formal schooling, the female official who adopted me taught me a lot. I'm a quick learner. And I learned very fast. Mu father and Pei Shuero were overjoyed. At the same time, they felt relieved. Thankfully, the female official was knowledgeable and taught Xiao Chen many things. Otherwise, he might have been illiterate. Soon it was time for school to start. That day, the Mu household delayed work hours and personally drove their son to school. In the car were Pei Shuero, who couldn't stop worrying, and Mu Yue, representing the 4 sisters. Pei Shuero kept giving instructions in the car. I didn't show any impatience, but Mu Yue was getting sick of it. Mom, that's enough. He's just going to school. You'd think he was going on a dangerous mission. Mu Yue rolled her eyes, and he's not even boarding. He comes home every day. What could happen? Pei Shuero glared at her. You don't know anything, so shut up. That school just had an incident not long ago. If Xiao Xian hadn't been studying there all along, and it's the last semester, I would never let Xiaoqin go there. Thinking about that accident, Pei Shuero felt uneasy. After all, Mu Xian was involved too. She wanted to say something, but seeing the silent Mu Xian beside her, she swallowed her words. She believed he knew he was completely wrong and wouldn't do anything foolish again. If she kept harping on it, he might get sensitive and overthink. Mom, don't worry. I won't let anyone bully me. I know what she's worried about. Even if I weren't the Mu family's young master, even if I were just an ordinary person, if anyone dares to bully me, I'll pay them back 100-fold. Bullies are all cowards who pick on the weak. As long as you're tougher than them, they'll end up being afraid of you. Mu father and Pei Shuero dropped me off at the school gate. They couldn't go inside. Usually, parents aren't allowed in the school. They can only pick up and drop off at the gate. Watching me and Mu Xian walk in, Pei Shuero was still worried. Mu father put his arm around her shoulder to comfort her. Don't worry. Xiao Chen is a smart kid. He'll be fine. And he's not one to take a loss. Pei Shuero glanced at him coldly. Too lazy to explain further. Knowing his personality makes her worry more. What if he gets into a conflict? I entered the school, unable to hide my curiosity. I looked around carefully at the school. Kids these days are so lucky. Boys can go to school together too, for just a little bit of money. Such a spacious and bright place. Such flat and clean ground. No need to fear the heat in summer. No need to fear the cold in winter. Unlike kids in the old days, only children of the upper nobility had a slightly better school environment. For commoner kids, studying was extremely hard. Why did I think that? Had I seen this before? I was briefly puzzled, but couldn't find any matching memory in my mind. I just assumed I'd heard it from ghosts before. Mu Xian noticed my amazed look and my behavior of looking around. He felt quite contemptuous inside, lowered his eyes to hide his disdain for Xiao Chen. Do you know how to get to your classroom? Want me to lead you there? Mu Xian asked in front of the teaching building. I glanced at him coldly. No thanks. Mu Xian smiled slightly. Then go on your own. Your class is upstairs. It's easy to find. If you can't find it, ask a teacher. Mu Xian was glad I came back just before winter break, saving him from strange looks from others. Thinking this, Mu Xian let out a breath, turned and walked in one direction. I walked in the opposite direction, standing at the back door of Class F's classroom. Looked up to make sure I hadn't gone the wrong way. Then fell silent. No wonder Dad had such a complicated expression when I said I wanted to go to Class F. Are you the new student? Mu Chen, right? The homeroom teacher of Class F rushed over, seeing a boy standing at the back door. He paused, remembering the matter. I spun around quickly, stared at the teacher and examined him carefully. Confirmed his identity. Bowed politely. Hello, teacher. The teacher was stunned by me. So formal? He even bowed to me. Student Mu Chen, I'm your homeroom teacher. My surname is Lu. Everyone calls me Big Lu. You can call me that too. If you have any trouble, come to me. I gently shook my head and said seriously, you're a teacher. You deserve respect. How could I call you Big Lu? Respecting teachers is basic etiquette. Big Lu was suddenly a bit moved. After being a teacher for so long, it was the first time he felt touched, but the feeling was fleeting. Big Lu quickly returned to normal. Class is about to start. Come in with me. Big Lu quickly walked into the classroom, but the students ignored him. They kept doing what they were doing, noisy. Big Lu was clearly used to it. Everyone, quiet down. Class is starting. First, let's introduce a new classmate. Big Lu shouted at the top of his lungs. The noise in the classroom paused. Everyone's eyes fell on me, looking at me standing on the podium. A new student at this time? That's pretty surprising. This handsome guy looks good. He's really handsome. Big Lu listened to the chatter below and felt a bit awkward, cleared his throat and said gently to me, Student Mu Chen, first, introduce yourself. I nodded, calmly looked at everyone below. I'm Mu Chen, classmate, you're done for. I glanced at him strangely. What else did he expect? That self-introduction was really simple. After introducing himself, it was time to arrange seats. Big Lu was still thinking about where to seat me. I scanned the room and walked toward a certain seat. Seeing me sit down in a seat, Big Lu and the students were stunned, with very surprised expressions. The students were shocked, and seemed to look forward to the DRA. Who told you to sit here? I turned to look at my desk mate. Can't I sit here? No, I don't want to sit with anyone, Lu Qiuping said with a dark face. If it weren't for him being a guy, he would have kicked me already. Who gave him the guts to sit next to him? I looked away and said calmly, then you change seats. Lu Qiuping and the students were confused. After coming to his senses, he laughed in anger, pointed at himself. Do you know who I am? No, I don't. He hadn't introduced himself. How was I supposed to know who he was? Not knowing who I am, you dare to talk like that? Don't think just because you're a guy, I won't hit you. I finally gave him a glance. If you want to hit me, go ahead, or I'll fix you. I thought for a moment and said seriously, then let's fight. Let's have a fight. If I win, you'll listen to me from now on. If I lose, I'll listen to you. How about that? The classroom was shocked. Then everyone burst out laughing. Oh, that's hilarious. She said she wants to fight Lu Qiuping. Doesn't she know how tough our Pingjie is? Pingjie, teach her a lesson. Lu Qiuping sneered and curled his lip. I never fight with guys. Not even worth one of my fingers. I smiled faintly. I think you're afraid to fight me, afraid to lose. Lu Qiuping was like a cat with its tail stepped on. Jumped up from his seat. I'll lose? What a joke. Fine. Since you're so clueless, then I'll oblige you. I was going to be generous and let it slide because he looks good, but he doesn't know when to quit. His eyes were full of disgust, thinking I'm like those guys who chase after him. Then it's settled. I calmly took out my books and sat down, very properly, indicating it was time for class. Xiao Xian, why didn't your brother come with you? Didn't your parents put him in the same class? After Mu Xian returned to the classroom, his usual friends immediately gathered to ask. Mu Xian pursed his lips and replied, Xiao Chen went to class F. He actually went to class F, so his grades are really bad. I thought your parents doted on him. Why would they let him go to class F? Class F is just for wasting time. They're all preparing to study abroad after the college entrance exam. Most or the youngest were not favored. Don't need to worry about inheriting the family business. Just coast along and collect money. They don't care at all. No one cares about their grades. As long as they don't cause trouble at school, everything else is ignored. The Mu family sent him to class F. Seems like they don't really care about him. Yeah, even though he's their biological son. He's been away for over a decade. Who knows what he's like? How can he compare to the carefully raised Xiao Xian? Looks like Xiao Xian is still the Mu family's young master. Mu Xian hesitated for a moment. Xiao Chen didn't do well on the exam. He didn't say. At first, Mu father wanted to use connections to transfer me to a better class, but I firmly refused. Mu father is a doting parent. Of course, he wouldn't force his son, so I ended up in class F. Mu Xian's friend curled his lip. He can only go to class F. That's really pathetic. Xiao Chen. But who's first in class A? The gap is way too big. Mu Xian continued to explain. Xiao Chen didn't want to either. He used to lie in a Taoist temple. He's never even been to a proper school. Getting into class F is already good. As long as he studies hard, he can still transfer to another class. It's already the second half of the semester. What's there to transfer? After the college entrance exam, he'll change schools anyway. You said he lived in a Taoist temple. Really? Hearing this explosive news, more classmates gathered around to gossip. There's nothing to say. Class is about to start. Hurry back to your seats. Mu Xian pushed the classmates around him, urging them to go back to their seats. But the more he refused to elaborate, the more curious everyone became. So they just had to guess on their own. Mu Xian sat in his seat, lowered his eyes and opened his book, as quiet and well-behaved as ever, but suddenly turned his head to look at the seat where someone familiar used to sit. But now it was empty. The person who used to cause trouble was gone. Thinking of Jiang Yan, his eyes darkened. His gaze inadvertently swept over a certain spot, and he quickly looked away as if stung, not daring to look again. That was when Yimo's seat. After the incident, everything changed. Usually, the classes got along, mind their own business, dislike each other. Class F was at the bottom of the food chain. The higher classes didn't want anything to do with them. But today was different. As soon as class ended, a student ran back quickly, excitedly shouting, big news, big news. People from class F are going to fight. Are you crazy? What's so special about a fight in class F? It's more surprising when they don't fight, right? The student who ran back stomped his foot. His gaze was meaningful, looking at Mu Xian. Mu Xian was confused by the look. The student deliberately acted mysterious. Do you know who's fighting Lu Qiuping? His gaze fell on Mu Xian again. Such an obvious hint. Everyone around couldn't ignore it. Mu Xian's expression froze. Everyone looked at each other. A close friend asked, you mean Xiao Xian's brother is fighting Lu Qiuping? Can't be. Who is Lu Qiuping? He's not even a senior, but in the whole school, he's a well-known figure. He's been a big deal since middle school, but in a bad way. And it's Mu Chen. That's what someone from class F said. And they said Mu Chen provoked him. Said they'd meet in the small woods after school. Finished and laughed, looking at Mu Xian. Your brother is quite something, daring to challenge Lu Qiuping. Has he trained? He must be really good. Confirming the classmate wasn't joking, Mu Xian shot up and walked out, angry and anxious inside. Is Mu Chen crazy? Who does he think he can mess with? Does he think school is the Mu family, where everyone gives in to him, letting him do whatever he wants? He stormed off to class F to find Mu Chen, but stopped halfway. He bit his lip hard, clenched his fists, his eyes flickering. If he stopped him, that would be good, to avoid trouble and his parents blaming him. But if he didn't stop him, and he really fought Lu Qiuping, either way, it would cause trouble. He hadn't interacted much with Lu Qiuping, but he'd heard a lot about him. him. Knowing the Lu family wasn't ordinary, Mu Qin provoked him. He gritted his teeth and turned back. Forget it, I don't care. Even if I go to persuade him, he won't listen. He might even say something harsh, making me lose face too. Didn't they say they'd fight after school? I'll try to persuade him after school. If he doesn't listen, I'll call Big Sister. Then Mom and Dad won't blame me. The atmosphere in Class F was high all morning. Big Lu heard their conversation, but didn't take it seriously. After class, he gave a few reminders, telling Qiuping not to argue with the new student. It would be beneath him. After reminding him, he left. He knew Lu Qiuping a bit, and thought he wouldn't take it out on the new student. But he didn't expect I wasn't easy either. So as soon as class ended, Class F marched in a crowd to the small woods behind the school. I looked at the students following. My gaze fell on Lu Qiuping. Should I remind him to send the unrelated students away first? Otherwise, it might be embarrassing later. Saving face is human nature. This happened often in the city of the dead. Those who lost would cry and ask me to mediate. How could I mediate that? If you're not skilled, just accept it. Later, no one bothered me with such trivial matters. I was busy managing things on behalf of my sister. How could I deal with such small issues? Lu Qiuping thought there was something wrong with my eyes, but he had no proof. How do you want to fight? Before it starts. If you sincerely apologize, we'll forget it. I'll be generous and not hold it against you. Lu Qiuping said arrogantly. Fighting a guy is really embarrassing. Even if I win, I'll be mocked. But I can't just let it go. Where would my face be? So he had to apologize and admit fault. Fight however you're good at. Stop talking and start. I need to get home early. The Mu family driver is probably here. Lu Qiuping was so angry he laughed. A friend comes looking for a beating. I don't need to be too polite. Rarely does he show mercy, but the other party didn't appreciate it. Mu Xian left as soon as class ended. His classmates thought he was going to stop it. He did go to the small woods, took a look from afar and then turned away. Went straight to the school gate. At the school gate, he quickly saw the Mu family's car. The person getting out of the driver's seat was Big Sister Mu Wanting. His eyes lit up and he walked over quickly. Said hurriedly, Big Sister, you came just in time. Xiao Chen is going to fight someone. Hurry and stop him. Mu Wanting was completely stunned. Thought she heard wrong. Fight? You said Xiao Chen is going to fight someone? Mu Xian looked anxious and worried. Somehow, he got into a conflict with the class troublemaker as soon as he arrived. They agreed to fight in the small woods after school. I couldn't talk him out of it. Big Sister, hurry up and go. What if he gets beaten up? Mu Wanting panicked too. Without asking more, she headed toward the school. The guard tried to stop her. She stated her identity, said her child was in trouble. The guard didn't dare to stop her, and let her in. Mu Xian anxiously led Big Sister to the small woods, acting flawlessly. A hint of anticipation flashed in his eyes. Mu Wanting was too worried about her brother to notice. The two rushed to the woods, but the scene stunned them both, and then fell into silence, especially Mu Wanting, who was now questioning her life. She thought she'd see her brother being bullied. Why are you in school? It's getting late. Let's go home. Mu Wanting finally snapped out of it. She saw I was already several meters away and quickly caught up. Only when they got back in the car did she find her composure and voice. Her eyes were extremely complex, looking at me with a complicated expression. I looked at her and said honestly, I just had a fight and I won. No need to tell Mom and Dad about this small matter. To avoid worrying them, don't you think? She thought it was wrong. How could he fight someone? And why did he win? Have you trained? Other than this reason, I can't think of any other reason. Isn't it just that I've trained? Pretty impressive in the city of the dead. Besides my sister, I'm the strongest. Mu Wanting stared at me in silence. At that moment, Mu Xian finally caught up. He opened the car door and got into the back seat, a bit out of breath. Before he could catch his breath, I threw a sentence at him. I don't want Mom and Dad to know about today. To avoid worrying them, what do you think? Mu Xian met my cold eyes. He couldn't help but choke up. He instinctively glanced at Mu Wanting. She was still lost in SOC. She didn't notice his look at all. No reaction whatsoever. Mu Xian had no choice but to feel wronged and reluctant. He lowered his eyes. I understand. I won't mention it to Mom and Dad. Xiao Chen never mentioned training. On the way, Mu Wanting couldn't help asking. You never asked. I answered with complete confidence. Mu Wanting was momentarily speechless. After thinking, guilt rose in her heart. She hadn't cared enough about Xiao Chen since he came home. She'd never taken the initiative to ask or understand. She'd even worried about Xiao Shen being wronged. Worried that he raised outside would be too blunt. Wouldn't know how to be tactful or how to be considerate to family. Worried the family would be in chaos. But he was her own brother. Her full-blooded brother. She only knew he grew up in a temple. Never cared how he grew up. What kind of life he had. How he spent the months alone after the female official died. Whether he encountered bad things. So he learned self-defense skills. When he got home, Pei Shuero immediately asked about his school day. She asked in detail. I answered flawlessly. How could he imagine his obedient son fighting? Hearing the good parts, he was relieved. Mu Xian wanted to expose this, but he didn't dare take the risk. Finally, he told himself to forget it. If he spoke out, he probably wouldn't be punished, but he'd end up looking bad. Why bother? This way, he felt better. We might have guests coming to the house soon. Shuero, please arrange it. At the dinner table, Mu Father spoke up. Pei Shuero was a bit surprised. Guests coming to the house? How come I didn't know about this? Mu Father frowned slightly, seeming a bit puzzled. It's the old lady of the fifth family from the capital. What? The old lady of the fifth family? Pei Shuero was truly shocked now. They'd never had any contact. Why would the old lady come to visit? Mu Father thought for a moment and replied, it's not exactly a visit. The old lady is in Heir on business. She doesn't want to stay in a hotel. The fifth family doesn't have a house here. Big Sister knew, so she asked us to host her. How could Big Sister do this without asking us first? Who knows what she's planning? The fifth family in the capital, though not top tier, their name wasn't that prominent, but it didn't affect their status and influence. The fifth family wasn't political or commercial. They relied on divination and changing fate. Legend says their ancestor predicted a national disaster and reversed the entire country's fate, thus creating the current empire. The ancestor died violently for revealing heavenly secrets. Although the fifth family secured their position, their reputation and power peaked. But everything has its pros and cons. The nation's fate was changed. Could a single life compensate for that? Since then, the fifth family's descendants have dwindled from a large clan to just 2 branches, with only 3 descendants total, 2 men and 1 woman. The direct line had only one. Worse, that direct line golden child. A few years ago, something happened. Heard he became a vegetable. Could die at any moment. With dwindling descendants, their abilities also declined. The direct line reportedly didn't even know the I Ching. How had the family fallen so far? It was truly lamentable, but no one dared to underestimate the fifth family. They were a family protected by the top. The one lying in bed grew up in the presidential mansion. The supreme ruler loved him like his own son. To cure him, they spared no effort, declaring, whoever cures him will be granted a promise. Even if the fifth family was declining, they were still far out of reach. Besides, a broken ship still has 3 pounds of nails. What benefit did Big Aunt want? But what did it have to do with their family? The old lady was quite old. What if something happened? Who could bear that responsibility? If they hosted well, Big Aunt would get the benefit. They'd get nothing in Heir. It was a thankless task. Mu Father saw his wife's expression and knew what she was thinking. He didn't want to get involved either. either. They'd split from the family and left the capital, clearly showing they had no great ambitions. His effort was to give his wife and children a good life. No worries about food or money, just happiness. His wife could be a rich lady, get beauty treatments, travel abroad, go to fashion shows, give his son the best education. As a father, he couldn't control his life forever. If he had no ability in the future, he'd lie an ordinary life. He wouldn't be a slave for them. As for his son, Xiao Chen must be taken care of for life. He suffered too much in the first half of his life. The second half must be compensation. She thought connecting with the fifth family was good. Building a good relationship, could find a good med in the future. In front of the children, she couldn't say, don't overthink it. Even if they agreed, the old lady might not come. If they could host, it would be a good thing. Having more connections never hurts. Pei Shuero could only nod. If the capital side had the idea and they refused, Big Aunt would make the old lady come. The Mu children showed interest. Except me. I didn't even lift my eyelids. I focused entirely on eating dinner, as if facing a gourmet meal. Mu father saw this and became worried. Xiao Chen is too naive. I don't know if that's good or bad. If she can't find a sincere person in the future, marrying into a wealthy family, she'd be taken advantage of. Marrying an ordinary person, she can't bear hardship. He wanted his wife to teach her more. Society is complex. Being too naive isn't good. While Mu father was lost in thought, I had already swallowed the last bite. Satisfied, I finished dinner. I looked up and met my father's complicated gaze. I paused, wondering if I had eaten too much, making him worry I was stuffed, or that I'd eat them out of house and home. I had no idea he was worried about my marriage. When I arrived at school and entered class F, the noise instantly stopped. The classroom was live, a mute button was pressed. Everyone shut their mouths, pretending to be busy with their own things, but sneaking glances at me with very strange looks. I walked straight to my seat and sat down. Beside me, Lu Qiuping asked with a dark face, "Why aren't you saying anything? Waiting for me to humiliate him?" I waited and waited, but nothing happened. I took out my textbook and started reading. He couldn't help but speak up. "How the hell did you beat Juhua?" I glanced at him strangely. Lu Qiuping slammed the table and stood up, glaring at me angrily. "Are you messing with me? The class is too quiet." The surrounding area was cleared out. I blinked innocently. "Oh, you mean the fight yesterday? Didn't you lose? Now I'm your bot. How dare you treat me like this?" I frowned deeply, feeling the need to establish authority. I got up from my seat and walked to the podium. My gaze swept over the class, cold and full of pressure. "From now on, I'm the bot of Class F. If you're not convinced, feel free to challenge me. You'll listen to me from now on, understand?" Although I had defeated Lu Qiuping, Class F wasn't convinced. I was a new transfer student and a guy. Why should I be the bot? Even if Lu Qiuping lost, there were still others. Make them listen to a weak guy? Don't think winning against Sister Ping is enough. Who knows if you relied on luck or dirty tricks? Newbie, don't be too arrogant. We only recognize Sister Ping. I raised an eyebrow slightly. You recognize Lu Qiuping? Lu Qiuping recognizes me. That's different. Is this Muchin crazy? I didn't bother with the others. My gaze fell on Lu Qiuping. Do you accept yesterday's result? If not, I can't do anything about it. After all, shameless people are invincible. Of course, I can't do anything. What kind of passive-aggressive talk is this? He laughed in anger, staring at me fiercely. Gritting his teeth, he forced out two words. "I accept." A gentleman takes revenge, even if it takes 10 years. He firmly believed yesterday was an accident, that I must have used tricks to win. He didn't even see how I moved. Before he knew it, he was on the ground. He thought he had plenty of combat experience. How could he not last a single move? It was impossible. I was very disdainful. I glanced at him. Did he think I wanted to be the bot? I didn't want to be the bot at all. Is it easy to be? It's basically a babysitter, and unpaid. A babysitter in the city of the dead is a hard life. I didn't want to work hard in the human world too, but for merit, what could I do? Coming to Class F was an accident. I had already agreed to go to another class, but walking down the hall, I noticed something wrong. Two air masses were swirling in the air. One black, one purple, intertwined. The purple one was weakening. Soon, it would be suppressed by the black. Purple air means a noble person. Black air means bad luck. I immediately became interested. Helping a noble person remove bad luck earns merit. Finding out it was Class F below meant the noble person was in Class F. Of course, I couldn't just let go. I had to observe. That's why I ended up in Class F. Lu Qiuping was that lucky but unlucky noble person. Lu Qiuping, don't look at me. The fifth family is really coming to our house. At the dinner table, the topic came up again. It wasn't a discussion, but an announcement that the fifth family was coming. Mu Rulin and Mu Yakin thought with elders around. They didn't need to worry too much. They were more relaxed. Mu Xianhak lowered his eyes. His mind was racing, except for me, who was oblivious to the world, focusing only on eating. Pei Shuero's mood became complicated. Xiao Chen is so naive. What will become of her? Such a big deal, and she doesn't care. She's really carefree. Xiao Chen, what do you think about this? Pei Shuero suddenly asked. I was savoring the food and was startled. In a blink, everyone was looking at me, waiting for my opinion. I had to put down my chopsticks, swallowed the food and thought, since they're coming, we should just host them well. Treat them like ordinary guests. Mu Xian heard this and couldn't help retorting. That's the fifth family. How can we treat them like ordinary guests? If they wanted to be treated like VIPs, there are plenty of people who could do that. They could get service at a hotel too, but they didn't. Instead, they're coming to our house. Why don't they want to be treated like treasures? Not everyone wants to be put on a pedestal. Mu father frowned, thoughtful. Soon, his brow relaxed into a smile. Xiao Chen makes a good point. The fifth family isn't the type to show off. Since they're coming to our house, proper etiquette should be enough. Being too grand would seem fawning. Pei Shuero also understood. Xiao Chen is right. The old lady is low-key. She rarely appears in the capital. She's not one to seek attention. Treating her like an ordinary guest is fine. Otherwise, why wouldn't she find a better place? Mu father pondered for a moment, then said, let's do it that way. He also found it strange. Why not stay with acquaintances? Why come to the Mu family? He asked big sister in the capital and got scolded. A good opportunity, and others would seize it. Make good use of it. Instead, you want to push it away. Why bother with the details? What could the fifth family possibly want? They wouldn't even take our family business for fry. He hung up the phone on the spot. The fifth family couldn't possibly covet the Mu family. Take things as they come. Just don't offend the fifth family. Not interested in benefits. Big Aunt can scheme for herself. Hosting the old lady was settled. Mu Xian couldn't believe they agreed. He didn't know what to say. Isn't this nonsense? Are they just going to let it become a joke? Risking our future and reputation? He wanted to say something, but swallowed back. Forget. He'd figure something out when the fifth family actually stayed, determined to look out for himself. I didn't care about the guests coming. The old lady wouldn't bother me. I didn't have to host her. Better to think about how to subdue Lu Qiuping. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. I adapted well. I thought kids today were too lucky. Even boys could go to school. If you had the ability, you could keep studying. That was a great thing. I'd never experienced that before. The Class F people saw me as the self-appointed bot. I was attentive in class, didn't cause trouble, reviewed and did homework after class. Lie a model student. Are we Class F or a sleeping class? Is Sister Ping just going to let this slide? Is she going to turn us into nerds? Jining Shuang cried out in frustration. Mu Chen is getting more and more outrageous. If he wants to be a good student, fine, but he's forcing us to be the same. No fighting, no disrupting class, no skipping class, no not doing homework, and he even checks up on us. If we can't answer, we get punished until we understand. He's not a student, he's a homeroom teacher. Big Lu isn't even this dedicated. Is he crazy? Lu Qiuping's mouth twitched at the thought. At first, he challenged and defeated him. Suppressed Class F's rebellion. He thought he was some big shot, doing earth-shattering things. But was this the legendary outcome? Lu Qiuping was also annoyed. He couldn't beat him, so what could he do? Recalling that strange incident, he didn't want to accept it. He wanted to regain his prestige by beating a guy, but he was afraid of losing face. He had to be absolutely sure. He felt Mu Qian wasn't simple. Let's put this on hold for now. I need to go back to the capital. We'll talk when I get back. Lu Qiuping frowned irritably, speaking with a hint of violence. Jining Shuang silently tore at something, not daring to speak. Those familiar with Sister Ping knew she was very resistant to the capital. Every time she returned, her mood was bad, depressed, oppressive, violent. No one dared to provoke her. Lai Qingqiu patted Sister Ping's shoulder. If something's wrong, just say it. Don't bear alone. Jining Shuang quickly agreed. Sister Ping, we're sisters. Lu Qiuping let out a scornful laugh, glancing sideways at them. Going back to the capital. It's not like I'm going through fire and water. What's there to fear? The two exchanged glances but said nothing, afraid of going back to the capital. 2 years ago, they didn't think much of it at the time, but she came back half dead, covered in injuries. Under her clothes, nothing was intact. Red, swollen, purple, veins ready to burst. A light touch made her shiver. It took over a month to recover and look normal again, as if nothing had happened. When they tentatively asked, she became strange and cold. Her eyes were terrifying. They didn't dare ask more. They had psychological trauma. They knew she cared about herself. Lu Qiuping smiled, warmth in her eyes. All right, stop being so girly. I can protect myself. I'm not a kid anymore. I'll fight back. On the third day, I noticed Lu was gone. I thought she didn't come, but she was absent. I waved for Jining Shuang to come over. Lai calling a dog. Ji ignored it, pretending not to see. Then she felt a chill. A cold aura enveloped her, making her shiver. She reflexively looked over, saw me staring straight at her with a smile, a cold look in my eyes. She couldn't help but shiver. She felt she had to go over, or who knows what would happen. She definitely didn't want to see what he would do. Unconvinced, she spoke gruffly. Lu Qiuping, she wanted to snap back, but met my dark eyes. Didn't dare. Sister Ping asked for leave. I rested my chin on my hand, thinking, asked for leave? That's not good. Her luck is bad. There's a sign of disaster. Injury to the body, unstable spirit. The bad luck is suppressing the purple aura. That's not good. Where did she go on leave? What is she doing? Ji was annoyed by the interrogation. What is this? Interrogating a criminal? Even if you're the self-appointed god of Class F, you don't have the right to treat us like criminals. I looked at Jining Shuang with a strange expression. Her name was really annoying. On the third day, I took leave. The Mu family decided to treat the guest normally, but they had to put on a show. Mu father waved his hand, and the whole family mobilized. Took leave to welcome the honored guest at home. I had no objection. If they said to leave, I would. I didn't know Class F was in chaos. Those who mocked me yesterday, after the punishment, I put it aside. They took my words as a joke. I went to class, went home, slept early as usual. In a good mood, something unexpected happened. When they woke up, they tried to call someone, found they couldn't make a sound. Thought they weren't awake, shouted, but their faces changed. No sound. Felt like a dream. Touched their throat, opened their mouths in a silent scream, rushed out. The Pu family was in chaos, didn't connect it. Yesterday, they thought it was an illness, went to the hospital. No problem found. Vocal cords were fine, couldn't speak. Mouth open, no sound. The doctor attributed it to psychological issues. Life was smooth lately. Nothing happened, suggested going home to rest and adjust their mindset. Might be fine in a few hours. Following the doctor's advice. Class F was buzzing. Several of Pu Lei's group were in trouble. Someone lowered their voice mysteriously. Jining Shuang overheard and asked what happened. A classmate sat next to her, sharing gossip. Sister Ji, my family servant was walking the dog. Heard Pu Lei went mute this morning. People around doubted it. How could he suddenly go mute? He was fine on voice chat last night. It's true. The servant's friend said the hospital couldn't find anything. It's psychological. And a few of his close friends all took leave today too. The surroundings went silent. They looked at each other, unsure whether to believe such an unbelievable cheaterie. Jining Shuang, Lai Qingqiu, and Gordon didn't connect it, but they remembered what I said yesterday. I'll punish you 3 days of not being able to speak. Jining Shuang got goosebumps. Felt a chill. Too creepy. Qingqiu, is this related to Mu Chen? It makes you wonder. Yesterday he said it, today it happened. Exactly the same punishment. That's too much of a coincidence. Lai Qingqiu frowned, took a deep breath. Whether it's a coincidence or not, let's not provoke him from now on. This person is truly unfathomable. If he really did this, our fate would probably be worse. Jining Shuang nodded vigorously. She thought so too. From that day on, the atmosphere in class changed. No one dared to be loud or cause trouble. Everyone obediently listened to me and studied. I was satisfied with all this. As long as they didn't cause trouble, I wouldn't bother using my methods. The following days were peaceful, but the online backlash grew even fiercer. When Yimo's parents presented evidence, directly handed it over to the police. The police launched an investigation. The truth about the mall incident that year was revealed. Jiang Yan and several involved students all received major demerits from the school and were expelled. The matter could no longer be hidden. Mu Xian was restless at home too. He was terrified and dazed all day. The Mu family watched the news reports, knowing Jiang Yan was involved in a murder case. They were all shocked and terrified. Pei Shuero looked at Mu Xian and asked, Xiao Shen, tell Mom honestly, were you involved in what Jiang Yan did? Mu Xian turned pale as a sheet. He fell to his knees with a thud. Mom, I really didn't participate in harming anyone. I was just watching from the sidelines. I didn't dare stop them then. I truly know I was wrong. Mu Chen and the sisters heard this. Their eyes were full of deep disappointment, even though he didn't directly push anyone. But standing by and condoning it is equally unforgivable evil. Mu Chen coldly made a decision. The Mu family can't keep someone like you. I'll give you a living allowance. You move out and lie on your own. Take care of yourself from now on. Mu Xian cried and begged everyone. But this time, no one softened or took his side. Even Mu Yue turned her head away. Though he's usually not smart, he still knows right from wrong. Mu Xian was eventually sent out of the Mu family. Their family businesses faced boycotts. All went bankrupt or faced closure. This was their complete retribution. When Yimo watched me from the room, there was no more resentment in her eyes. Thank you for getting justice for me. Seeing them get their deserved punishment, I can finally leave in peace. I smiled and nodded. Go on, go reincarnate. Your next life will be safe and smooth. She turned into specks of light and faded away. A surge of pure merit flowed into my body. I felt my power grow significantly. Life returned to its usual calm. I became the anchor of Class F, leading the whole class to turn things around. Lu Qiuping also shed her thuggish ways and got into a decent university. I enjoyed family warmth in the Mu family. Mom, Dad, and my sisters all doted on me, though I'm still sharp-tongued and locked to argue. They know I'm kind at heart, and they all put up with my little temper. Life in the human world is pretty wonderful. As for my identity as the City of the Dead's prince, I'll wait until I've lived this life out here, then go back to take over.